All right, good evening, everybody. Obviously, a later start tonight for Friday, but we are we're here and looks like we're ready to go, tagged up. So I'm gonna be playing something a little unexpected today. Number one, I just need a break, and this is actually a game that I've been wanting to play on my own for a while, and I actually gave as a gift to a few people. But excuse me. Um, I haven't actually done it on stream for a very long time now. So I thought it would not be a bad idea to pick this up and play it again. And I will be returning to Against the Storm, but one of the reasons why I wanted to do it now is that in a few days, the winter sale is going to be over, and the game that I'm going to be playing, Chaos Reborn, will go back to its normal price. So, I this is actually not one that I was given for promotional purposes. Um, I remember picking this up ages ago. Um, but right now, for Canadian dollars, it's $3.29, normally $10.99, so 70% off. And of course, the Steam Winter Sale will be over on January the 5th. So the price is kind of a reason why I've wound up giving this to a few people as a gift. But overall, I think this is a really worthwhile game. And I think there are a couple of other things to say about it. So this was the first game by Snapshot Games. Snapshot Games is probably better known for Phoenix Point, and it's the company that Julian Gollop founded. And I believe now Snapshot is actually owned by the Embracer Group, who sort of feels like is buying everything and everyone. But in any case, this is definitely a game I'm quite fond of. I'm a little weirded out by some of the things I'm seeing on this stream right now. If you can just give me a second, I'm actually going to close out a few things. But yeah, it's a game that I like quite a bit. It's a game that I think, in my opinion at least, does some interesting things. Wow, there's a lot of little lags that I'm getting on my computer right now. I'm just gonna end a few of these tasks to what else can I do here? Sorry for the silence. I just need a little bit of time to close out a few things. There's one other background service which I feel like I should be able to get rid of, but doesn't seem to be here. Hmm. Okay, sorry, just one more second and then I can clean up. Okay, then I don't think I've actually cleared out all of the things that are causing me a little bit of grief on this end, but I do want to jump into the game. But yeah, so anyways, obviously the background in terms of the company isn't as critical. I suspect there are fewer people playing this game than the last time that I streamed this, but I don't know. I'm still quite fond of it, although I have not played it recently, and so I thought so. There's again a few different reasons why I'm playing this right now. Number one, there's a closing window for the game to be picked up at a pretty good rate. Number one, I'm personally interested in playing this game because it's been a while. The exception. Thank you very much for 57 months. You have got to be the longest subscriber to this channel. Very much appreciated that. Also, made me leap out of my skin with the sudden notification. But thank you very much, and happy incoming New Year. But yeah. So, anyways, there's a number of reasons why I'm kind of coming together with Chaos Reborn. One of the other things that kind of delights me is that I notice, in addition to sort of the gifts that I've given, there's actually a streamer I really like, Elkanu, who seems to have played this recently. I don't know if he did so on stream, but it's a game that I am, again, very fond of, and I want to play again. And I really do feel like I kind of need a little bit of a break, or just like something to clear my head. So this is as good of a candidate as any, and it's a chance for me to share something that I really like, which I know maybe only some of you will have had a chance to see. So here we go. I'm going to have to add this to OBS, by the way, so there may be a little bit of...
Once there was the moon, the sun, the stars, all gone. Magic caused this. Magic and wizards. Our world cracked as we warred deep within its heart and awoke monsters. The sun burnt out. The moon shattered. Yet still we fought. Blinded by greed, we sought the power of the gods and broke that which was made for us. Now, at the heart of the vortex, only limbo remains. A last refuge for those who are not saved, but did not sin. You are trained and unleashed to wield magic, to build realms, to command creatures, to battle with wizards, and plunder the realm, to save the last of us, to rule, to become gods. Now, Chaos Reborn!
So it looks like I'm going to have to adjust the volume settings a bit, but I can work on that. This hints at a couple of features which I haven't actually unlocked yet, but should still be enabled inside of the game. But if you can just give me a second here, I want to adjust... Oh wow, this is already... Okay, hopefully this will work out on the game to voice volume. Yeah. Please let me know if it's not working out, because I'd rather deal with that. I'd rather deal with that now than in the middle of the game. So there's training, there's single player. However, I would strongly recommend... So, I mean, getting through this stuff is fine. I believe... Oh, did I... Surely I've done this already. I would have thought I finished this already. Interesting. I wonder if this is just not, I wonder if this is just not covered in the, Huh. Maybe this just isn't saved in the cloud? This isn't necessarily how I would have wanted to do this. Anyways, I'm not actually going to do the single-player campaign. The training does help. So Law or Chaos. Chaos Reborn can be played in two radically different ways. Choose a mode that appeals to you for your first few battles. You can change your preference before starting any training battle and you can replay any of them. So law mode, choose law mode if you prefer calculated outcomes. Spells are cast by spending mana points, and creature combat uses hit points. Now this is something that was introduced after the release because a lot of people were complaining about the randomness in the game, but in my opinion, the real fun of the game is actually chaos mode. So choose chaos mode if you're comfortable managing random numbers, spell casting, and combat based on probabilities. So I'd pick that. Now again, I've already done the tutorials. I suspect probably for my own interest I'll run through the wizard training and single player campaign, but I should still have, here we go. So I've not been paying attention to my mail for quite some time, as you can see. But there's basically there's a leveling system, and you can also do okay, so there's a I'm not explaining this well. There, in addition to the different modes, there is a dueling mode, but the thing that I'm most interested in is realms. Oh, what? Why is this locked? Once you've acquired enough experience points, you'll be able to create realms. Oh, right, because I need to enter in here. So, like I said, it's been a little while. So the way that this game works is that when you play multiplayer, you are able to enter into realms that other players have created. And you are able to, like, basically you kind of go through a little bit of a story, you play the different levels. It's essentially what the opening of the opening cinematic is talking about. And through that you can collect a number of different sort of artifacts and stabs, and basically the gear that you are wearing will give you a bit of a, it's the thing that will give you, it'll give you sort of the different advantages and the different material for your deck. So it has an element of the deck building, but I would actually say it probably has more in common with the Microprose Magic the Gathering game, where you'd sort of go on adventures to get the specific cards to your deck, as opposed to what sort of Magic is today, which is a little bit more like Hearthstone, where you open up the packs and you get that stuff. I guess I think it was the Thronebreaker game also kind of tried to do something like that. But in any case, what I was looking for was to see. I was trying to see if I could show. Okay, I guess Equip is sitting right in front of me. But yeah, essentially, I've got a few different items here that I can equip. I've sort of picked a combination of different, basically just the different bonuses, different cards based off of what I sort of have in my inventory. I don't even necessarily know if this is what I would go for, sort of sitting down and really like working out all the details. In fact, if I recall, yeah, I've actually got a few different setups it looks like. I need to think a little bit about how I'm building my character, but what I do want to do at some point, yeah, I'll maybe worry about my I'll worry a little bit about my wizard first of all, but what I will do is briefly talk about the different stats and if I recall correctly, what they do. Actually, I think the game guide can help. Does it not give us a breakdown of how the... Drat. I was hoping that it would sort of explain the different stats. Okay, you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm just going to jump into the game and then I can explain as I play it, because if I don't, I'm going to take forever to explain this. So let's enter a new realm. I've done a few. As you can see here, that I've done a few realms already. So how to play realms is an example. I believe you can complete. I can't remember if you can complete or enter a realm for free. I believe you can complete the realm for free. So I'm tempted. I guess I can't. I think the way I used to do this was I would go by the lowest level that I haven't completed yet. So let's see if I can do that. So we've got level 1, level 3. Sorry, like I said, it's been a while since I played, so. Okay, so I'm going to make a guess here and say that I'm on to the level 3s. And I guess, I mean, it looks like they're rated by... It looks like they're sorted by rating, so maybe I'll go for, like, the lowest rated number 3 and everything's just uphill from there. Okay, Pegasus Flight. But yeah, some of these are created by... Actually, I'll say no. Oh, so it doesn't say which ones are by Snapshot. Okay, anyways, so these are all player created, and eventually at one point I will get good enough at the game that I will be able to create my own realms. But right now I'm going to worry about seeing whether or not I can actually make any progress in the game after so long. Pegasus Flight. You can only take your current equipment configuration through the portal. Do you wish to enter this realm? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to do Chaos Mode battles. Now, one very fun way of playing this game is to allow invaders, so allow other players to take control of enemy wizards, and you get a score bonus from defeating them. Or, if you want, you can disable this, so prevent invaders. Other players cannot take control of enemy wizards. You only fight AI control wizards. This can be a lot of fun to play. And probably some of the more intense battles I've had have definitely come as a result of allowing invaders. I don't really invade myself, although from what I understand, you can actually, that can be quite beneficial. I am, however, going to turn it off just because I don't know what it's like to stream this game and allow invaders. And given that there's probably only a small number of people playing this game, I suspect if somebody wants to jump in and start invading, and, you know, whether they're doing so because they're looking for someone to play the game with or because they want to cause trouble, you know, I'm a little more reluctant to have that enabled. But I do encourage you, like, do play with this on. This could be a fun way of approaching it. Hopefully I'm not being overwhelmed by the music. Please let me know if I am. But anyways, we will enter the realm. So again, the write-up is usually coming from the player. So Pegasus Flight. You walk down the steps of the portal feeling rather grumpy, having been somewhat reluctantly dragged to this realm by Deminu, a powerful Aragorai and council servant. Deminu puts his hand on your shoulder to halt you and points his blue staff forward. This is Yufu Deforai, says Deminu rather emotionlessly. A relatively peaceful realm ruled quite well by King L'Oreal. He has, however, decided to breed a constellation of Pegasi against council advice. Although we do not fear L'Oreal's intent, we fear that what may happen if others capture such a large number of creatures. You know what must be done. With that, Deminu pats you on the shoulder and returns through the portal. You sigh and venture forth. So, in this realm mode, basically there is an overworld where you're going to, you're going to decide where you go. There is a banishing spell. So essentially, when the flux points get up to 1,240, you will lose the realm. So there's kind of a ticking clock. You can lose multiple times, but it's essentially once you get to the 100% on the doom counter, effectively, you're done. There are reinforcements that get called in. These are all sort of listed here. Is that really 12? Good lord. There might be a lot of fighting in here. And essentially, there's exploration. So if I want, I can go over the hills. That's a little bit risky as far as time is concerned because it's slower. Or I can just sort of take the obvious paths. Now, I'm always a little curious what happens when I move off to the side. Okay, so that just was there to waste my time. Okay, so we can teleport or we can go the long way. I will try going the long way for starters. Okay, and again, this was purely to waste my time. Traveling Wizards 1 mercenaries pay 8 gold for travel? Yes. So, here's an example of... this is something that would... This is a case of some, like, enemy lords that I want to take out. How you doing, Index Gnome? So, let's go to the Elven Village first. Although I guess I don't have the kudos for the recruitment. I don't know if there's anything else I can do with this. Yeah, and I'm not going to attack it because I like elves. Okay, so if I want, I could invite a friend as an ally, or I could request an ally. So that's what the ally or invade option here is. Incidentally, I can turn off block invaders. So if you change your mind partway through, you can hit that. But yeah, if I wanted, I could sort of invade or ally. But in this case, I'm just going to do a normal battle. I believe if you request an ally, yeah, it's shared between you and the ally. So we'll just do a standard battle here. Doing just fine this night. Excellent. Is a particular reason for just this night? Or, sorry, just fine this night? Or are you just particularly well tonight? So this one is a taboo, so non-mount creatures are prohibited. That's a weird one, actually. So essentially, we're not allowed to use anything that we can't ride. Vortex magic bathes the land, bringing life to the old earth. The woodlands are the fractured the woodlands of the fractured worlds are a strange echo to our past. Trees and plants grow and mutate at far faster rates than we believed possible. Animals live and die amidst these verdant fields, unaware of how things have changed. So I don't have anything to equip, so we'll just begin the battle. So, this is the kind of heart and soul of Chaos Reborn. It's a turn-based strategy game. I believe there is a mode that doesn't require you to be... So I believe there is a mode here which does not require you to... Sorry, I'm thinking of the right way to put it. I believe you do not need to be present for the opponent in at least one of these modes. Ah, gotcha. Okay. So let's see what I've got. Now, I'm a little weirded out by the fact that the Icarus Tower is still available. So the Unicorn, the Manticore, the Elephant, the Pegasus, these are all mounts. So what's the deal here with the Icarus Tower? I don't know, but it's not useful. So let's go over what's inside my hand here. So we've got Disbelieve. This is always available to you. So one of the things that makes this game really special is the fact that you can summon creatures in the game, and the creatures that you summon can be either subject to probability. So in this case here, if I want to try and summon, let's say, the Manticore, more often than not, this is going to fail. I can guarantee the Manticore, but if I do the guaranteed Manticore through the illusion, the problem is that my opponent can cast the Disbelieve and then the enemy vanishes. So this is one of the things that makes this game kind of interesting. Another thing that will happen is the more of either Law or Chaos spells that get cast, the more the sort of winds of magic are going to push one way or the other. So if I do a bunch of Chaos spells and my opponent does a bunch of Chaos spells, it's actually going to become easier to summon the Manticore. So there's a few different things that make this make this interesting. Now, in addition to summoning creatures, which is something that I do most of the time, there is also the option to do sort of direct magical attacks. Now, if you do the direct magical attack on the enemy wizard, this just causes them to lose a spell. If you do a direct magical attack on an enemy unit, then potentially the unit can die. Now, one of the things that I want to think about in terms of the elf here is that you can see that they can move 3 spaces, but then they also have the attack range here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if they were move out here, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's not a lot of safe spots for me to live. So I essentially have 2 choices right now. I can try and eliminate the threat of the elf. That's got a 55% chance of succeeding. I can try and get on him. I can try and summon a mount, and that's going to give me a certain percent chance of success. Or, you know, I can really risk it, move forward, you know, into almost certain death from the elf. Now, so you can get an idea in terms of how the different attacks work. So in this case, they've got an attack of 10. My defense is 40, and if you ever want to work out the probabilities, where is it? I remember this became a little bit harder to read once they added law mode. Okay. The basic chance to kill depends on the ratio of the defender's attack value to the target's defense value. In this example, the lion with an attack 4 can kill a dwarf with defense 6 with a 4 to 6 or 40% probability. Okay. So that means if you've got an attack of 10 to... Okay, so in principle, it's only a 1/4 chance that the elf does me in. But I don't know, like the possibility of like losing, if you were to play chess and you had like a 25% chance of losing your king off of the move that you made, I wouldn't feel too good about that. So I think in this case we're just going to try for the unicorn. This is the highest probability highest probability summon I have. We'll cast a real one. And in this case, I failed to summon the unicorn. So in this case, I can get a move in still. So 1, 2, 3. I think I'll still be safe if I tuck myself into the corner here. And we'll move on. Also, I should remember that the elf will have a height advantage as well. So I want to be careful about that. Okay, I believe that's defense that they just put on themselves. Gonna make life difficult for me here. Okay, so I think as usual, I'm going to... So one thing that might be interesting here is I could potentially move up and put the gooey blob on the elf to sort of protect myself from it. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try for the Pegasus. Alright, more bad luck. And again, I'm going to pretty much just trap myself in the corner here and see what I can do. I do like all these magic bolts. Those can be pretty devastating, but I need to see whether or not I can actually pull off. Okay. Normally I would want to try and disbelieve something like this, but I need a mount for myself, so... Alright, more bad luck. So, I suppose the question is, do I risk the damage from the elf so that I can get into combat with them? Or do I try hiding? I think I'm going to try hiding one more time. So, needless to say, we'll reconstitute. This is why people get mad at chaos mode. I'm pretty sure the probability was 25, but anyways, we'll try again. So I'll do my usual, try and summon the unicorn. There we go, a little more luck this time. Now, one of the things that is most useful about being on a mount is it counts as sort of a second set of HP. So essentially what you've got here is your mount gets killed first and then the wizard. So essentially when I'm on a mount, there has to be 2 successful attacks that are made on me. However, if I want to take advantage of these sort of mana wells, I actually have to dismount and move on top of them. So there creates a bit of risk for that approach. I'm just trying to figure out what that talisman does. Okay, so I'm going to move in pretty close on the enemy here. And what I'm also going to try is a disbelieve on the unicorn. Yeah. So that's how the illusion mechanic works. One of the things I could have tried to do was do an illusion on one of the mounts, but the fact that I've sort of obviously been struggling to get stuff done doesn't make me feel as good. Now, one thing I'm going to try and do here, I don't think there's a guarantee that the gooey blob's going to hit the wizard, but this will do a good job of sort of locking them down. So let's see if we can make that happen. No. Okay. But this is going to limit their movement for a bit, so that's going to allow me to get a little bit more done. I mean, that wasn't a terrible move on their part. If I want to get rid of the blob, I believe I need to spend mana on it. So, I'm reluctant to use the magic bolt, to be honest. But I should have another in the... Okay, it's 33% chance to take out my Pegasus. I think I'm... Nah, Magic Shield's a weak choice. I'm actually gonna do... I'll probably do a Manticore Illusion. So one of the reasons, I don't know how the AI plays, but one of the reasons why I'd sort of feel okay about this is that the current, like the player considering this has to sort of deal with the possibility that they're going to be outnumbered in terms of units right now. So under normal circumstances, this would lead someone to be a little bit more reluctant to try and dispel, because if you dispel and you're wrong, then that's another turn where you don't get to summon anything. But on the other hand, you know, you sort of deal with the fact that if you've played this game a few times, you sort of know that that's the reasoning someone's going to have, and you know, you kind of do the second and third order and so on and so forth. So we'll see how the AI responds to that. But this is kind of a surplus right now, so I'm okay being a little sneaky. All right, so. Bad luck for me. Now that's a 50% chance of successful summoning. So what I'm going to do is a disbelieve. Okay, so that was real. Fortunately, I was able to take out the archer. Now what I probably want to do here, I want to move my my unicorn up. Oh, damn it. That's in range of the bolt tower. Well, there's no undo, so I don't think there is anyway. Yeah, so we'll end the turn and hope. Okay, so fortunately the unicorn didn't get hurt. Oh, but he wound up in the goop, so lucky me. So I think in this case, I do actually want to spend the mana to dispel it, because that lets me move in on the enemy. And the thing that's great here is I actually get 3 attacks. So 1 with the unicorn. Okay, that didn't work. So now myself. Oop. Okay, that didn't work. So the last one is the magic bolt. And that was GG. So that's how you'll be spending most of your time in Chaos Reborn. Again, if you prefer determinism, there is law mode now where everything has HP. I've never played law mode, and I honestly don't have an interest in playing law mode, so... Okay, I got some law kudos, but not enough to take the Elven village, so let's go to the current village. A city of tall wooden buildings some 4 stories high, this town is home to King L'Oreal's master bowmakers. Their workshops never stop replacing, repairing, and refining the bows of the king's troops, and many travel here just to see them work. Thus, to cater for the needs of the town, thus to cater for their needs, the town has amassed a large number of butchers, bakers, and landlords who have set up business on many a crowded street. Got 118 in terms of gold. Now, rumors usually are worthwhile, so you can pay to purchase some rumors. A map maker lives here. A bard has made camp here. So in theory, you can find all of these on your own. An elf bowman has made camp here, but as you saw earlier on, like you do tend to get, I don't know, savaged a bit by some of the people who make the levels. Like in this case here, this is just a pure waste of time. So, and you do not have an infinite amount of time to solve these things. If you want better gear, if you want new things, you can buy them, although generally it makes sense to buy up some mercenaries at the start. However, they will cost you to transport. So before we go too far, let's do some of the different rumors. Lemuriel's treehouse. As you make your way through the wood along a well-maintained stone path, at its end, you are greeted by a large tree with a rope ladder hanging from the railings of a wooden balcony constructed in its top. Climbing, you discover that the balcony is more a platform, as it is connected by a rope bridge to a door in a small single-story treehouse slung across a number of branches of the neighboring tree. Crossing and entering, you find yourself in a round dining room polished to gleaming. A tall, dark-haired elf is also here, hard at work drawing a chart on the floor. It is Lemuriel, the map maker, so we can acquire about UFO Duforii, subvert Lemuriel to join you as a mercenary, or slay Lemuriel and loot his possessions. Let's just ask for information. UFO Duforii is a wondrous realm, begins Lemuriel, a place with fresh, clean mountain streams, green fruit-bearing woodlands, and lush grassy plains. King L'Oreal rules us with enlightenment, but that does not mean that we are not strong. Great citadels have been built to the south and northwest, whilst the mystical machine, the Manaflux, lies due west. Also to the northwest of Solarian, we breed a constellation of magical Pegasi. This together makes our homeland a peaceful, secure beacon of light amongst the shattered worlds. Making careful note of the information, you thank Lemuriel and leave. So let's move on to the other rumor. Gotharus the Bowman. Passing to the far edge of the wood, you make out a small campfire on the edge of the void sea, protected from the spewing dust and debris by a circular wall of thick cloths staked to the ground with thin but sturdy poles. The place seems quite homely and a welcoming place. Homely? Homey, surely. Cooking mushrooms in a tin pan on the campfire is an unusually stocky elf with thick brown hair that comes down to the shoulders of his green armor. Stirring the pan's contents, he sees you and beckons you to come and join. I am Gotharus, he says politely, a bowman and lover of adventure. So we can inquire about UFO Duforii, subvert him to join me as a mercenary, or slay him and steal his possessions. Again, we will inquire, and again, we get 25 reputation. I'm an adventurer, and there is never a dull moment in UFO Duforii for someone such as myself, says Gotharus proudly. I have mountains to climb, forests to explore, and rivers to cross. I would look to live in no other realm, and King L'Oreal rules so wisely that even if I desired to leave, I could not betray him. So I go from here to my next exploration, to the woods north of the great southern citadel, where it is rumored silver mallet grows. A herb I wish to try, and if I find them, I shall inscribe my mark on the nearest tree trunk as a testament to my discovery. Impressed by Gothra's spirit, you wish him well and depart. Now, I actually don't remember what reputation does, so let's see if we can... Okay, so that unlocks mercenary slots. Okay. Let's just move to the next port. Now, there's going to be a battle there, but we need to make progress, so. And we will do the battle. So, non-flying creature spells. The lands of the fragmented realms are often great swaths of fertile grass fueled by the released magic of the old world. To the explorer, this is a reminder of the past, the nearest glimpse to what might have been, what it might have been to walk in the fields before all things were shattered and broken. All right. So one of the things that's attractive on this map are these 3 sort of mana wells. So if you can control the center, you're going to have a much easier time. What I'm going to do here is start by moving forward, and I have 2 choices. So I can make myself individually more powerful by equipping a magic bow. A guardian totem will make my creatures a little bit more hardy. But I think what I'm going to start with, I'm actually going to start with a vampire, and I'll try a real one. Okay. Now, one of the things I want to be careful about, one of the easiest ways to lose is to a magic bolt. So the one thing I don't want to do, so 1, 2, 3. So if I move here, I want to make sure that Lord Glemiel is not within sort of 3 slots. Because usually if you can cast a magic bolt on someone, that's sort of game over. But if I put the bolt tower down, that's going to make things a little more tricky for him. What I am going to do, though, is try and summon another vampire. Okay, bad luck again. Okay, now eagles are pretty easy to cast. He has run off on his own. I think what I'm going to do here... I'll pick up the extra mana, but I'm going to sort of waste the blob on the eagle. Are you kidding me? Okay, so I may actually just die to the eagle. I think I'm going to end the turn. That thing should not have that much power. So when it says it's reinforced as lords, I believe there is now going to be a summon. Oh, good lord. All right, and there's a marauder as well, so this is going to be a really hard one. Okay, so it looks like I was mistaken. It doesn't seem like there is a sort of a summon nearby, but it is going to be a tricky one for me to win. So I think what I'm going to start with, I will try another vampire. The hated eagle. All right. So if I try and run an eagle after Lord Glemiel, that's gonna cause me some grief. In fact, all of my mounts right now are flying. So how do I handle that? Let's start by seeing whether or not I can make anything. These things, by the way, can't climb up, so we're... Okay, eagle's dead. So that's 11 to 20%. Wow, they're really locking... Okay. So, first of all, let's try and take out the bird. Okay, no luck there. I could try and gooey blob it. I think what I will try to do, though... So we've got a pretty heavy law bias, so I'm going to put down a Pegasus. And the good news here is I can mount the Pegasus. So this is going to be a problem if I try to move in on the two, kind of the two, like these two things are anti-air, so it's gonna create a movement problem for me. But right now I want to deal with the eagle. Okay, so I count as engaged to the enemy. What I'm going to start off with is an attack from my character. I actually have a chance of taking this thing out. It was an illusion! Alright. Now, I can try and move... I think actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to start by moving the Pegasus to the edge here. And my Pegasus is dead. So I pretty much need a mount for this game. I am going to try the Sapphire Dragon, though. I'll try a real one. Beautiful. So this is the sort of thing you would imagine somebody would try and challenge. Yep. But there's two of them, right? So... Good God. Alright. So one thing I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put down the Bloodlust Totem. Ugh. And the other thing I want to do, I want to make sure that the range for the dragon, like I want to make sure that I'm sort of avoiding these as much as I can. Okay, that's pretty inconvenient, honestly. Let's start with... I think actually I'm going to try another Sapphire Dragon. So of course the challenge now is to try and move in a way that we can actually take these guys out. Oh, interesting, but I can already engage this at range. Okay, so actually I'm going to try and take these guys out at range first. Beautiful. Okay. So again, I don't necessarily... I guess I can try and move in a little bit closer, kind of outside of the range of these units. Yeah, I think I'm just going to try and slowly chop this down one at a time. So, I mean, there's a chance that this is real, right? If it's been real for me, there's no reason why they or any less equipped to being able to make such a thing. But I'm in a decent enough position to see whether or not... Okay, so that is a real dragon. Now, they unfortunately have the advantage of... they unfortunately have the they have the advantage of... Actually, I think if I move one, I walk. Yeah. Alright. So I got lucky on the Sapphire Dragon. And the other thing I can do... Okay, those wings are going to be a problem. So first things first, I'm going to walk up and destroy what I can. So again, if I was the AI, one of the things I would do would just be fly in and take me out with a magic bolt, because this guy's got a very high magic power, which would probably be enough to kill me. Okay, one of them died, which is good. Okay, Fountain of Life's got to go because that can resurrect creatures. Now, one of the first things I want to try and do is see if I can take out that Pegasus. Okay, that is real. I can walk up and... Okay. So we're in a considerably better position now because we've gotten rid of their... Draft. We've kind of gotten rid of their anti-air defense, basically. So, in this case, I do want to take out the safety. And then I'm going to put myself in sort of a safe position. So we're almost a third of the way through the level. So at this point, I'm definitely feeling like I should be trying to... Yeah, I'm definitely feeling like I should try to disbelieve whenever they're summoning things like dragons. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to try that on the second one. Okay, so that was real. Now, what I want to do next... So first of all, am I in a position to be able to try and take this thing out? Yes, I am. So they're not good odds, but I have volume, so... actually, sorry, there's one other thing that I should try, which is to take out the protection first. Okay. Now, this doesn't mean that... they're still perfectly capable of killing these dragons. But I should feel quite a bit safer about my position. Okay, so I'll do my usual thing. I can try and summon more dragons, but right now it's more advantageous to me if I disbelieve their mounts. Okay, so the mount's done. What we try to do now is take out the wizard. Now this is a wizard who's better equipped for magic anyway. All right, they got lucky. Jesus. Okay. So that buys me a bit of time. And I think at this point, I want to keep away from the Lord just in case they've got a... Well, not even a just in case. They're almost certainly going to be keeping a something nasty in their pocket. Okay. I should at some point consider a mount, because if they do get to move in on me within a creature, I'm kind of undefended, but it's not the biggest... Like, I've kind of got them on the run right now, so I don't want to... Okay. So we still want to keep our eyes on the prize, which is the boss man. Good. Unfortunately, I don't think we have an angle on the wizard, so we're not going to be able to seal the deal. By the way, I've never had a battle like this. I do not believe I've ever seen more dragons in one place. But again, this is my king. I do not want to lose the... I do not want to lose my wizard, especially in this position. I'm almost certainly never going to run into a situation like this again. Now, it's interesting when it says engage to enemy. That basically indicates that I can't move these units until the enemy's out of the way. Alright, and there we go. If I didn't win that with this many dragons on the board, I'd be in for a bad time. So it also got me some law kudos. Built in a small basin and an otherwise flat plain, people feel like they are traveling downward when walking the streets of Solarian. Made of stone steps and cobbled roads, the streets are filled with cloth merchants selling their wares to elves from throughout the realm, and there is much bartering over price and design. So I usually like to buy the rumors, so location of a citadel, location of the palace, location of a town, Dejar rests here. Okay, so let's go back to the game guide and talk about was citadels I was looking for. So yeah, citadels are magic laboratories where Wizard King Queen summons and binds creatures to reinforce wizard lores. You can capture citadels and use them to cast the Breach Palace spell and other spells at infinite range. So the Breach Palace spell, basically I can't just directly go to the palace wherever that was unlocked and say, hey, I rule this place now. I do need to take out a citadel to be able to... I need to basically build up enough mana to be able to cast that. So what I'm going to start with, it may be an idea to hire some mercenaries at this point because I do have some money. As usual, I like to see what my options here are for purchases, but in this case, let's go for... Elves and skeletons are actually pretty strong. I'll leave the dwarf at home for now. The King's Elves on patrol. The paved road is well maintained and something of a pleasure to walk on. As such, the grassy plain flies past, and you only take occasional breaks to observe something of nature's splendor, such as a flock of birds landing in formation or a colorful array of flowers. During one such distraction, two elves appear from nowhere, handling their bows well and looking steady on their feet. The leader of the two demands rather woefully, "What business do you have here, Ergorgorai?" So So I can bluff that I am in UFO de Forai merely for trade and exploration. I can flee the elves, or I can slay the elves and loot their possessions. We'll bluff. By some miracle, the elves believe your bluff and, bowing, bid you wealth, fortune, and a good uneventful stay in UFO de Forai. You sense the presence of magic nearby and are drawn along a narrow path through the trees to a small pile of rocks next to a bubbling stream. Removing the rocks one by one, you reveal a sealed white porcelain jar. The enchanted jar is decorated with many detailed black and red pictograms charting the ruin of many a monument on Limbo, and whilst being large enough to conceal something of value, is nevertheless small enough to remain unnoticed. Bending forward, you take hold of it in your hands. Attempt to open it. Oh my god. I'm seeing why this one got a lower rating. You attempt to open the jar, and there is a bright flash of red. Your hands burn, and the jar falls to the ground, becoming unnoticeable by you seemingly due to some magic spell. A shiver travels up your spine, and although you do not wish to admit it, you know that you have been cursed. Lose 50 reputation, 50 law kudos, and 50 chaos kudos. Okay, we're just going to go to the only other place that we can, and we'll battle. So you'll notice here that I have a couple of companions. These are the mercenaries that I hired. So there were no taboos in this case, so I can basically summon kind of anything. But I do also notice that there isn't a... I noticed that there isn't a amount available to me right now. So one thing I want to do is invest kind of heavily on the chaos side. What I want to do is essentially build up to a vampire. That's a fairly strong... That's a fairly strong unit. What I think I'm going to do is I'll walk up and start with a goblin. Not because I necessarily want the goblin, but because it's going to help me push towards chaos. Then I'm going to put down a bloodlust totem, then the skeleton, and then we'll sort of see where we're at. Okay, so that skeleton is a fairly likely is going to be real. All right, that was unlucky. Now, if the goblin is engaged with the skeleton, that's pretty much the end of the goblin. Okay, I think I can make this work, though. They've got 80 arcane. Okay, I'm gonna risk picking up the mana. Okay, and they're backing off. So one of the things that's nice here is that they've actually just seeded a whole bunch of mana to me. Ugh. Okay, I'm happy that skeleton didn't die because mercenaries stay with you level to level. So, with the mana that I got, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to summon a vampire, but you'll notice that, so I've been collecting mana, and one thing I can do is I can actually spend it to improve the casting chances. And actually, you know what? I'm going to wait one more round, because I can summon a goblin. Of course, the drawback here is that they're potentially getting a magic bolt every turn that this goes by. That spider's going to be a pain. Okay, so these two are engaged. One thing that's important to note here is that the skeleton is undead. So the undead can't be damaged by something that isn't an undead slayer. However, may all be a moot point. Drat! Okay. And what I'm going to do at this point, I'm tempted to go for the elf, but I am going to go for the expensive vampire. And there will be a really specific reason for that, which will hopefully materialize in the next couple of turns. Okay, so as usual, we're going to use the elf to try and take out the enemy. Yeah. Obviously, just like chess, if you see an opportunity to take out the king, you take it because everything else is irrelevant. Okay, so if I want, I can try and take out this. I think the Citadel probably makes the most sense at this point. And yeah, we might as well just walk on it. The beating heart of each realm. Alchemists labor under the direction of their ruler to harvest the magic of the vortex into powerful, permanent summoning spells. Creatures from all across the fractured worlds are lured and bound by such power. Some become truly loyal to a benevolent ruler. Others are compelled to serve by the geese laid upon them. They are then dispatched to other regions to protect them against incursion. If you conquer a citadel, you will reduce the rate at which the wizard monarch can reinforce the realm. Okay, so again, we're in a good starting spot because we've got two reasonably powerful summons, but there's a long distance that we need to cover, so we shouldn't count on holding that advantage forever. So the other question that I would have would be, what is the best thing for me to start off with? If I start with goblins, that starts tilting things towards chaos, which is tempting, but what does that really get me? Because most of my other summons are going to be neutral. So I think what I'm going to do here, I'm going to start with an eagle because they move quite quickly. And again, we'll just kind of see how the turn works out. Okay. There is a chance that that's a real summon. It's undead, so that's a real pain if that's real. But I'm going to try disbelieving. Beautiful. Okay, so again, I'd like fast-moving creatures if I can get away with it, or we can keep pushing down the chaos route. That doesn't really help me if I keep pushing for chaos. Well, that's not true. Gooey Blob becomes more workable. I think I'm going to try another elf. Well, no, another elf seems to make sense. Okay, I got pretty lucky there. Let's move up to... How you doing, Starbright Knight? It's temptingly close to taking out the Lord of the Realm. I guess I am going for the goblins after all. Okay, so that's almost certainly real. So first question is, what's the best... Okay, yeah, so the skeleton has a real chance of taking this guy out. Okay, no luck. We can ignore the goblin, right? So we're going to do that. Even though it's a 35% chance, it's better than nothing. And again, I can safely ignore the goblin. You don't know how you're doing. Oh, sorry to hear that. Alright, you control the Citadel, denying the enemy reinforcements and a Marauder spawn point. You can use the Citadel to cast strategic spells at long range. So, just as an idea here, so we've got Breach Palace, Lift Fog, Advanced Training, Totem Upgrade. In this case, usually I just work towards the 50. I believe this starts generating mana for me. But what I'd like to do is find the second Citadel. So we know where it is, it's here, but I need to find a path to it. It could be up here, actually. So we do have some time to wait. Okay. Lovely! So I'm going to recruit the Elven Village. Now, one of the things that's neat about recruiting is you can actually get them to deploy to a region. So I'm actually going to send a bunch of elves to this location to take it over. In the meantime, I'm going to work on all these other locations. Ah, I'm sorry to hear that, Starbright Knight. Gloria the Bard. The trees clear, and you enter a picturesque clearing carpeted with blue flowers. Their small circular heads of petals are in full bloom, and you can almost see the sweet aroma they emanate drifting upwards towards the vortex. Gazing upwards, as if you try to visualize it, you catch in the corner of your eye a large hammock-like sheet slung between two branches of neighboring trees. On it, an elegant but rather short blonde elf sits, rocking gently as if caught by a breeze. "I am Galeria the Bard," she says, presenting an ornate lute. "How may I assist?" Inquire about Ufo Dufori, and I would expect the reputation goes up again. Yeah. "Ufo Dufori, land of tranquility, land of prosperity," sings Galeria while strumming the lute. "Land of elves, of humans, of those with peace in their hearts. Come sing with us of the flying horses, our great steeds, our salvation in need. Sing of those that we breed, for the need to protect against the greed of those from afar that seek the riches of our wares. You're impressed. The lyrics may not be the best, but Galeria certainly has a voice and rhythm worthy of the most talented bards. Thanking her for a song, you bid farewell and leave the clearing." Okay, so I'm also going to go towards the village because I'm definitely going to need reinforcements. I was not expecting unicorns, but that works too. Constructed on King L'Oreal. By the way, Starbright Knight, have you tried this game? I know if you're looking for things to take things off your mind, this is very affordable right now. Constructed on King L'Oreal's orders, the model elf capital is a city of bright white stone buildings, being embraced by countless varieties of plants. So much so that in many places one could be mistaken for believing an entire forest was encroaching, and yet a sense of order still prevails. This order extends to the inhabitants, who make busy at their work as if automatons. One part of the city where emotion does run free, though, is the marketplace, in which stand statues of King L'Oreal, his wife, and daughter. Here many bards recite poetry, and many a lute player entertains the crowds. So I usually still want to buy the rumors, so location of the Citadel. Okay. More jars, which may or may not curse me. I will definitely hire the vampire. The King Elves on patrol. The grass is short, dry, and makes a crunching sound underfoot as you walk across the plain. The mana in the vortex above seems to flare as if in rage and distracts you long enough for two elves to appear seemingly out of nowhere. Handling their bows well, but looking somewhat uneasy on their feet, the leader of the two nevertheless commands commandingly, "What business do you have here, Egregori?" Again, we'll bluff. By some miracle, the elves believe your bluff, and bowing, bid you wealth, fortune, and a good and eventful stay. So, I'm going to try opening the jar again. Okay, reinforced as lords is always a worry. We'll try opening the jar. If it winds up cursing me again, then it's like, okay, they're out of ideas, and we'll just leave the rest of them alone. But let's attempt to open it. You attempt to open the jar, and there's a dim flash of yellow light. Your entire body aches, but the jar's lid comes off easily. Inside, you find some gold coins and parchment with a picture of a skull drawn on it. You gain 62 gold. Okay, so we've got some reinforcements which have moved in on the location. I could also try and move around. I'll try maybe the jar one more time here. Aha. Do I want to... Let's go around the side. You sense the presence of magic nearby and are drawn to a fallen trunk, using all your might to roll it over to reveal a small hole in the ground beneath. In the hole is sealed a porcelain jar. The enchanted jar is decorated with detailed engraving depicted ruined statues of Aristotle in limbo and pictograms charting his life. Examining the jar further, it is large enough to conceal something of value. Let's try opening it again. And you attempt to open the jar, but there's a dim flash of blue light. Your hands ache, but the jar's lid comes off easily. Inside, you find some gold coins and parchment, purporting to be an invisibility spell. However, the work has aged badly and is mostly illegible. So, I can try taking out the ruins here. I kind of need to take the mana flux at some point. Let's not risk my mercenaries. I think I'm going to focus on the battle here. Okay, non-mount creatures are prohibited. That probably shouldn't apply to my... Oh wait, no, mounts. Okay. So as you can see, we've got a pretty sizable force to work with. What I'm going to start with is I'm going to take one of the Pegasi, or not Pegasi, one of the unicorns. Just hop on that on my own. I'm tempted to also equip the magic sword. Reasonably well-defended character. Beautiful. So the remaining question is, what do I want to do? I think I am gonna go for the sword. Now, presumably, they're gonna jump on the Pegasus right away. Okay. Now, I'm going to start by disbelieving the unicorn. Okay, so, again, there's always a danger to doing that, but I feel like that was sort of justified under the circumstances. Now, as far as I can tell, these things are not undead killers. That might actually take out my unicorn. I think I'm going to move here for protection. Let's see how that turns out. Okay, so definitely going for the mount should be the first priority. Beautiful. Now, unfortunately, my mount is paralyzed. I think the usual move should always be to take out the enemy. There we go. Okay. So one thing I might want to consider... So there's a few things that can happen here, right? If the Marauder gets summoned, then they're probably going to wind up moving onto this area. Alternatively, I can try reinforcing the ruins while I'm sort of off on the adventure on the Mana Flux. I think I'm going to start with that. In the meantime, I'm going to move to the next location. So it costs 20 gold for travel. And if I can... Okay, so I don't have any options in terms of moving on to the Mana Flux. This is going to be a very tough fight. This is 4 wizards. Actually, do I have that right? No, sorry, it's 1 wizard and an elf, a unicorn, a Pegasus, and an elf. So they've got quite a few reinforcements. But I'm gonna, like, I have to fight it at some point, right? So Taboo structure spells. Structure spells such as Bloodlust Totem, Guardian Totem, and Fountain of Life are prohibited. The living, pulsing, breathing flow of magical energies that bathe each realm, crafting and sustaining them. A wizard monarch manipulates such power, tapping the energies to form a powerful banishing ward that recognizes you as an enemy and seeks to cast you out. If you can disable this device, you will slow the progress of the banishing spell, giving you more time to explore the realm. So, similar story as last time. The only drawback is that I don't have a mount to start with. I could try to hop on a Pegasus right away. I could also try to annihilate some of these units with the Decree. Let's try and take out that Unicorn for starters. Okay. Unlucky. Oh! Oh, that's right. Pegasus can sacrifice itself. Okay. Let's start by moving the elf up. Vampire doesn't need to worry about arrows, so I'm going to move them up. And I'm going to move my wizard to the left. Again, I do want to mount at some point, but... Okay, that was somebody I paid for, so that's sad. So one reason I don't want to put my vampire here is that the skeleton will be able to attack them, but I can put my vampire over here, and that puts the elf at risk. Now, normally I'd want to try and take this mana, but if the elf moves up, they're going to be able to attack me there. So either I need to decide on a mount, or I need to kind of cool my jets for a bit. Let's start by bringing up a skeleton, because that should allow me to summon a manticore. Okay, so first thing I want to do is to take out the I want to take out the elf. This is putting my vampire in a risky position because the skeleton is potentially going to be able to attack them. But I can't play defensively forever, so it's a little bit more about calculated risk. Let's go. And then for the... I'm not ready to try the Manticore, but let's try and summon a Hellhound. Okay, so my skeleton's locked up. They may die to the... I didn't realize the Unicorn was an Undead Slayer. Now, I wasn't expecting to be engaged to the enemy, but this should be an easy kill. And it was an illusion after all. The one thing I don't want to have happen still is to suddenly wake up and find out that the elf is capable of killing my my character. So I am going to start with a vampire. Okay, bad luck. There's always the danger of being paralyzed. But now, one thing that's important about the vampire is killing a living creature, not undead or an illusion, grants 20 attack and 10 defense. So if I do things like take out the elves, that winds up making this unit even stronger. That's going to be one of my priorities moving forward. But again, I want to make sure I take out the elf before I start putting my wizard at risk. Okay, this would be a great opportunity if I had something that I could put in the region. Okay, Pretty much a noble sacrifice for the elf. Unbelievable. Alright, well. Make our move. I think the time has come for me to put down a manticore. Ah! I'm trying to think, do I need more... Do I need more bodies on the field? Kind of hard to say yes. You never know. Alright, that sucks that I lost my mount that way. Jesus! So one of the questions that I have is, do I want to spend more mana on a manticore? Not right now, but what I will do is... I didn't realize I lost my skeleton as well. Let's get some extra bodies on the table. Okay, I'm glad the vampire's back. So unfortunately, I'm engaged to the Hellhound. Okay, that's good. In this case, I just want to stop the elf from making its attack. Now, it looks like I can get a better attack on the unicorn if I target from on high. Now, this is still exposing the vampire, but I can at least work with that. I'll get my extra mana. And I think at this point, I'm going to buy myself a new manticore. Okay, so remembering that my vampire gets stronger for every living unit that it takes out. So we'll try and freeze the zombie. And this isn't a great place for the eagle to be attacking from. They are also, actually, they might get hurt by the zombies. So in this case, I'm going to move them... I'm going to move them in kind of a wimpier spot. And then, let's say... Zombies don't have any movement, so I'll summon some rats. So Giant, as you notice, is a 40% chance of being summoned. It's possible that this is a fake. Yup. Okay, so there's an important thing to remember about eagles. So flies over intervening object and swoop. So gain an attack bonus for attacking after moving from a height. Oh, hang on, after moving from a height. So I should have put them on the height originally. Either way, we get an attack on their unicorn, which is good. I'm going to try and freeze the zombie. And unfortunately, I'm not able to attack the lady right away. So instead, I'm going to try and take out the zombie. Mostly just kind of getting rid of any potential threats. Again, we've got sort of the numerical advantage, which I want to build on, but it's definitely not over yet. I think I'll try summoning a giant. So this is one they might try to disbelieve. Okay, so the dwarf may not be real. I'm going to... Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. We'll start by getting in melee range of the enemy wizard. Again, it's the potential game winner. I'll at least make my vampire more stronger by sucking the blood of a dwarf. And the giant kind of takes his time, but I don't have anything that I can summon because I tried the dispel, but we're in a good spot. Clever. So first thing I'm going to do is, yeah, I don't need to get smart if I can get the easy knockdown. Now it's worth remembering I don't have any mercenaries anymore, but I do now have the mana flux, and I believe that should start generating mana for me for the destroy. I believe that should allow me to destroy or breach the palace. So if I want, I can go after the citadel. I am going to need to earn some points for strategic spells anyway. So I suppose the question would be, do I want to risk the ruins, or do I want to go straight to the citadel? Let's try going straight to the citadel first. Okay. That might have been a mistake. Jesus. I should probably be hiring more people before I go after citadels, now that I think of it. It's 3 elves. Well, 3 elves won't hurt a vampire, so... Citadel, the beating heart of each realm. Alchemists labor under the direction of their ruler to harvest the magic of the vortex into powerful permanent summoning spells. Creatures from all across the fractured worlds are lured and bound by such power. Some become truly loyal to a benevolent ruler. Others are compelled to serve by the guise laid upon them. They are then dispatched to other regions to protect them against incursion. If you conquer a citadel, you will reduce the rate at which the wizard monarch can reinforce the realm, which was kind of the reason why I wanted to... try that. So, the big risk here comes from the elves, which can potentially shoot my character down. However, as long as the vampire isn't taken out, I have a major advantage. So, I think I am going to start by trying to get the unicorn. I do need a mount. I can, however, afford to walk forward and try and get the mount. Beautiful. Okay, so I definitely want to make sure that I'm protecting myself first. I'm going to go for the elf right away because they can ruin my day. And I think I'm probably going to be a little bit more activist in terms of how I use my character, so I'm going to put down the magic sword first. Or fail to in this case. Okay, this is a worry because I don't know... Ah! I don't know if the Icarus Tower can actually take out vampires. I'm gonna engage the elf in melee because I need to eliminate that threat. And then I'll put down a skeleton. Jesus. All right. Yikes. So yes, that does count as an undead slayer. I pretty much have to try and save my character though, so... Thank the maker. Alright. That should eliminate the threat to the vampire. Hellhound's not going to do me any favors, though. The appeal is definitely to take out living enemy units right now. Let's also... I don't know if a skeleton's really where I want to be going with this at the moment. Let's go for it. Hey, and I got my... Of course, the skeleton got blocked, so that doesn't really help me, but... Okay, I should probably start trying to see if I can dispel some of these summons. First things first, let's try and disbelieve the... Beautiful. Alright. This is risky because, like, this is a valuable character for me, and wizards are undead slayers, but it is a chance for me to take out the Icarus Tower. Damn. Okay, let's try Damnation then. It's low chance of success, but... It was an illusion. Alright. Oh. I was gonna be raging if I lost the vampire off of that. Okay, I need to find... I think the best thing to do right now is to dispel the blob. So that opens up the skeleton to try and take out the Icarus Tower. Okay, that wasn't successful, so now I need to deploy... Unless I have... I could try a magic bolt, but I'd sort of want to use the magic bolt on the... Well, no, it's better to try and take out the thing that'll kill the vampire. Excellent. So remembering that's a mercenary, so I get to bring that with me. No, there's no limit to how strong the vampire can get. However, I do not believe its power carries if it's a mercenary. I'd love it if it did, but... You control the Citadel, denying the enemy reinforcements and a Marauder spawn point. You can use the Citadel to cast strategic spells at long range. So, I mean, if I want to risk things, I can try and go for the ruins here, but I don't feel like that's... I don't feel like that's a good move right now. I think probably at this point I want to be thinking about taking out the Lord. So... I feel like I should probably have more in reinforcements than I actually do, but I am going to do this battle. Nope. Okay, first I gotta move there. Okay, so non-mount creatures are prohibited. The remnants of humanity before its fall. Old hints at the great civilizations wiped out by the depredations of magic. Stories of the ancient world can be found herein, as can precious treasures of magic, memory, and more. These are dangerous places full of dark and vengeful shadows, ready to prey on explorers. Collect the gold before you slay the enemy wizard lore. Only your wizard can enter the chest to collect the gold. If you slay the enemy wizard lore before collecting all the gold, the remaining chests will be dispelled. So one way we can test to see the... Okay, so apparently the attack is much higher. So maybe it does cross over from period to period. That's news to me if that is in fact the case, but I'm happy about it. So, first things first, I need to make sure I have a mount, and I need to make sure that I take out the elves. Yeah, if that is in fact how the vampire works, this is my MVP. This is going to be the thing that wins me the game. God, subversion is tempting. I'm tempted to try and summon the Pegasus now. I'll try a unicorn. So the reason why I don't want to do justice is if my vampire is going to get stronger eating the elves, I want to take advantage of that. I hate these things. Okay, so I have some choices to make. First of all, let's try and take out the... Yikes. It's not great, but... Christ. All right. Well, at the very least, I'm running interference on anything they can throw at me, so... Of course, the point of this would be to eat the elves. Yeah, I think I'm just going to move in closer. Now, I could try to gooey blob it. Actually, that's not a terrible idea. I think this thing can still walk and try to kill the vampire, now that I think of it. Okay, so obviously I don't really need more summons right now, so the first thing I'm going to try to do is dispel the, or disbelieve the unicorn. Cool. As usual, we'll make our effort to take out the Icarus Tower. Thank the Maker. Alright. So this is going to be a chance on the Pegasus. Nice. So the question now is, do I risk the vampire to try and get more, or do I go for the ending knowing that I lose the gold? And honestly, let's not get too clever here. Okay. I mean, if I have a chance to get money, I'll take it, but... I'll put down another unicorn. Ooh, that would have been bad. Interesting. That's a risky move. They've got quite a bit of power, though, so I'm gonna, as much as I want to unlock the money, I think I'm gonna try and take out this elf and move my. Actually, hang on. I'm just trying. I don't think there's a way that I can get the money and not potentially put my wizard at risk. So I'm gonna hop on the mount. I'll try and take out the elf, even though that means that my vampire isn't necessarily stronger. And I mean, if I have a chance to make some cash, so much the better. But right now, the name of the game here is just to take out the target. Oh right, it's telling me I can summon something. I mean, I don't have to. I guess I can put down the Icarus Tower on the ground here is as good as anything. Okay, that's going to make them hard to reach, but it does give me some safety in terms of grabbing money. Don't think I'm quite ready to put down the shadow wood yet, so what I might do, I'm gonna be sneaky and try an illusory elephant. Wow, they just gave up on life. Okay. Or did they? I guess they wound up engaged to the unicorn. Okay. Again, I'm not going to complain about a chance to make more money, but I do want to be careful. They're a beast. All right. This is a bit dangerous for me to do, but I'm gonna go for maximum greed. There we go. So I didn't get the money from here, but I'd say a stronger vampire. Oh, wait, let's get a look at the vampire. No, can't. Yeah, I mean that was not a bad return on investment, I'd say. So next question: where do I want to? So we've already got people protecting this. I guess we want to limit movement next. So do I limit movement here, or do I limit movement here? I feel like I should limit it here, but we've already got the vortex. Now, again, we need... Oh, actually, it's 30 that we need now, so we're definitely ready to breach the palace. The only other thing I might want to do is pick up some more mercenaries. The Marauder has appeared, so that... Oh, okay, they come from the palace. That's going to be a bit of a problem because essentially they go to try to take like citadels again, and they are someone who does become a little bit of a pain to deal with. I'm going to, again, try to hire some mercenaries. I could also try... I do have quite a bit of cash, so maybe let's pick up some extra goodies. And I guess the only other question is, are there any other cities that I can make it to in time? Maybe I just make my stand here? Surely there's a wait option. Yep. Okay. So I could try requesting an ally, but I think in this case I'm about as good as I'm gonna get. I've got some reinforcements already. Some reinforcements. I'm okay. So let's start by taking out the bad guys. Oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna get on the unicorn because there's absolutely no point in taking on any more risk than necessary. And let's go... I'm actually gonna go for a vampire illusion. Let's see if I can get away with this. I could try moving closer as well. I'm actually gonna move one back because the unicorn can charge. Excuse me. Okay. How did you know? So I can play that game too, right? Like, I might as well do the illusion on the, or disbelieve on the elf just to make sure. Okay, so that is a real one. Now, okay, so this is 33, so it may actually be that the vampire doesn't carry over. So now it's 55, so it looks like... it looks like I might have been premature on the momentum that you can get off of that. That's fine. Remember, the vampire is something I want to keep anyway, because it's one of my hires. Skeleton I want to keep. The elves are not going to come along on the rest of the journey, so... I think we should be okay against the Marauder, but let's not... let's not start counting our winnings until we're ready. Okay. Okay, so I think for this one, I can take my wizard off. It's just for the extra mana. And now that we're tilted a little bit more towards chaos, let's get a Hellhound on the board. So Goblin's pretty likely that it's real. I am, however, going to try disbelieving it. It's a miracle! Unfortunately, the vampire is blocking the Hellhound. What I will do, though, is grab a little bit more mana. Clever. So what I gotta do is get rid of the Hellhound first. Nice! Marauder is dealt with. So that's the advantage to waiting a day, even though you have the risk of, like, I've got 218 days left. The advantage, of course, is that I was in a much stronger position waiting here. Now, let's breach the palace. Because even if I get wiped out on this attack, I'm still going to be able to... like, I'll still have the breach. So... I'm going to hire whatever that... So Dwarf is kind of useless as a mercenary in my opinion, but it's better than nothing. Actually, I probably should have bought some gear as well, but I don't think I want to spend the extra time. Let's go... So, taboo structure spells such as Bloodlust Totem, Guardian Totem, and Fountain of Life are prohibited. We are up against... Okay. Not a guaranteed win, but good starting position. So the vampire is at 33 again, so in this case you don't carry the attacks over. It's a 50-50 chance on the elephant, and frankly, I want to try it. Okay. Lord Gimel is defensive, not very good on attack, and not that great on defense. So... Or I guess it's Gimel. Okay, they're now very good at attack. Oh, there's my mercenary gone. So I want to keep that in mind when putting my vampire in against them, right? Because this is just one step on my way to winning. I don't necessarily want to risk my vampire to be able to take out the Lord a little bit faster. So what I'm going to do now... I'm going to try... Again, I want to try and get a mount down. Okay, that didn't work. I'm trying to remember if that was the talisman or if he cast... If he cast Magic Sword. Oof, I dodged a bullet there. I'm gonna save the Pegasus for later, because until I have a clear mount, it's not worth the risk. The nice thing about this attack is that this will make the vampire stronger to go after the Lord. So again, their attack is 90, but the thing is that the probability of success is based on the ratio of the attack and defense. So their defense is 30, this attack is 55, so now there's a better chance of the attack succeeding. I don't want anything to do with that gooey blob, so we're going to wait. I'm going to move the eagle. Again, I don't want the risk of the blob getting me. But I do want to change height when I attack the Lord. So next up, what do I try and do as far as mounts are concerned? I'll move up. I think I'm actually just going to summon a lion. So at this point, I'm basically just going to hold back and try not to anger the Lord. Okay, so let's try and take out the Hellhound. Bad luck. Not really in a position to try and take out the Lord. Can move in closer though. And if he's going to push it to chaos, I might as well... Actually, hang on. I should have tried this ahead of time. Okay. Damn it. That was one of my mercenaries. That's actually good that they did that, because imagine if you tried to do that with a vampire instead. So it's possible he's got another magic bolt that he's sitting on. So I think I'm safe here. Again, my worry is about magic bolts. I'm going to try summoning the air elemental because I might be able to knock him off the edge of the world. Now, at this point, I kind of have to put my vampire in play. It might get frozen by the Hellhound. It's actually quite likely it'll get frozen by the Hellhound, but as long as it doesn't die, I'm okay. Okay, so first things first, let's try and just take him out with a lion. Beautiful. So I'm really only going in with one mercenary against the Lord. So I believe on these missions it is the Lord, any of their reinforcements, and the Marauder on the map. And I don't have a mount at the start. But I think this is as good as I can hope to... I think this is as good as I can hope in the first round. So let's see if we can put an end to this realm. The lair of the realm's ruler, a palace dedicated to worship, fear, and loyalty. Herein lies the wizard monarch and the end of your quest. Defeat this potent wielder of magic and the minions gathered in defense to earn your return to Limbo in triumph. So, yes, this is the guy we just took out. There's the Pegasus and the elf. We should expect the Lord to mount the Pegasus right away. And I need to find something to ride. I'm going to start by putting down the Bloodlust Totem. Yeah, I think I'm going to go all in on the right-hand side. You do need to take out both, to my understanding. Okay, so let's think about the direction I want to take this. I think I'm going to put down a goblin for a starter. And I think I'm going to just tuck myself off into the corner there for a little bit. So I'll add a skeleton for reinforcements. It's hard for them to kill. But what I really want to do is have the vampire in play, sort of eating up the stuff that's a danger to my... Oh, these things are going to be the end of me. Okay, so that goblin was supposed to be the thing that freed the vampire. So I'm going to start with a... Beautiful. I think we go for the spider first. Nice. Okay. Let's get a replacement goblin. Right, and I can't move close to the... Icarus. What's the range on that thing? So, I mean, the problem with this is I put myself at risk for no reason by moving my vampire there. So I think I'm actually just going to keep it... I think I'm going to keep it in place. It sucks, but... Jesus. Wow! I was asleep at the switch on that. The good news is there's a possibility that's opened with the vampire. So, let's get my people to safety. I'm going to put a skeleton down. You know, I think I'm just going to have to risk the hit to the vampire. Jesus. Okay, so another risk from the ruler as well. This can turn against me pretty quickly. Oh Oh, man. So I think if the Pegasus tries to sacrifice... I think if I kill the Lord, the Pegasus might sacrifice itself. Creature will sacrifice itself to protect an adjacent ally, cannot sacrifice if being ridden. So that would suggest that this will protect the ruler. So in any case, we'll take out the elf. Or try to. Definitely want to take out the Icarus Towers. The good news is that everything that they've summoned so far is pretty small potatoes. Let's try the Hellhound. Okay, bad luck there. I'm just going to stay put. I didn't think they'd be able to disengage that way. I guess there's an agility rating. Right, so that's a 65 versus the 70. Okay, so unfortunately this fellow is engaged. Let's start by trying to take out the elf. Okay, good. My vampire just got stronger. There's not a lot of threat to me right now, so I think I'm going to get my character involved with the goblin. Good. From that, we're in a neutral position, so I'm also going to put down an elf. I'm actually going to make that an illusion elf. Let's see if they take the bait. Okay, that paladin's going to be a problem. But the Lord has just been exposed. Oh, but they locked down the vampire. No, they didn't. Oh, man, this is going to be hard. So that's protection for the vampire. Good. Ooh, okay. Things are looking up. Obviously, I don't want the skeleton caught in my own blob, so we're going to hold off on that. Oh, no! No! The Icarus Towers automatically attack... they automatically attack flying units in the area. I have won so many battles with the Mana Bolt. I kept their stupid Pegasus. Okay. Let's go hard with a vampire at the start. Haha, you dumbass! Okay, now I'm just gonna take the piss and put a Manticore illusion down. Completely fair. That eagle's gonna be a problem, though. Okay. I'm gonna try the unicorn now, because I am gonna need some kind of defense from... Good? So you'll notice this time it's, you know, speed, speed, speed. I wanna take out the enemy wizard as quickly as possible. They're not that strong. 50, 30. Pretty sure I can engage the eagle. I'm tempted to disbelieve that. So the lion may be irrelevant based off of what the vampire does. Nuts. Do I want to... Okay, lion's got a 40 attack to my unit. So it's a 50-50 that the unicorn falls to an attack from the lion. I don't really like those odds. But what I can do... Oh, but the problem is if I succeed. Okay, let's... Nice. Oh! Alright, so that lion may kill my unicorn. If it does, then the enemy unit's going to attack me. Now they're both engaged. Well, I think the wizard can escape engagement. But they are in a good position to attack me, so that sort of sucks. So that was a smart move because the vampire is more dangerous to him on that level. I think I'm just going to go charging in. Beautiful. Okay. Bad luck. Let's see if we get lucky with the gooey blob. Ha ha ha. They can still jump off the unicorn, but this at least immobilizes them. So presumably they're just going to hop on the Pegasus. Okay, so I should probably assist my wizard. The other thing that's good, of course, is that eating a spider is going to give me more. Alright. Well, actually, we may still be able to kill the unicorn, so... off of that, let's put down another vampire. So this would have been the coup de grace if I didn't have this gooey blob to worry about. Should I get out and push? Let's leave the unicorn alone. I'm ironically going to put down the spider to free myself from this. Interesting. So I'm going to try and disbelieve that unicorn. All right. So this is where it would normally be awesome. We just won. You know, we can come in and take him out. Unfortunately, I still need to actually deliver, and they're probably going to hop on the unicorn. Now, they're not that strong, so I don't think the vampire should be all that worried. Let's maybe get the spider going around the others. Oh, sorry, I should be freeing my unicorn first. Son of a bitch. This is kind of anyone's game at this point. I have a couple of things that can push it to my favor, but I think they might be going for the mana. I'm not sure. I'm definitely disbelieving that paladin. It's a backup. Man, that guy's really good at killing my units. Okay, so the best I can hope to do right now is web it. But I can at least charge in. Okay, so the real temptation here is to hop off my mount and use the magic bolt. But they've got 90 arcane, so it's entirely possible they turn around and do the exact same thing to me. So, what I do instead, I go for a pocket lion. Okay. Okay, that just gives my unicorn a chance to charge. Or does it? I don't like this. Probably should have tried something different. I'm done playing. Cool. So I don't need the mercenaries after all. And you get a summary of the work that you did in the realm. So rate this realm from 1 star to 5. Trying to think about that, like, all Icarus Tower one. That was okay. It's tough. Like, I wish there was like a half star, because I feel like 3.5 might be the best one. The things that kind of got me were the cursed jar. I'm not quite sure had the intended effect. It's like the problem is that, like, it's the same sort of rating inflation, right? Like, we're all used to, being on Uber or something like that, and it's like, if you give anything less than a 5, like 4 means that you feared for your life. 3 meant that the person actually, like, pulled out a knife and threatened you. 2 means you were in the car with Osama bin Laden, and, like, I don't know what number 1 is. Travis Kalanick, let's say. But yeah, like, the jar didn't quite work for me, and I, like, the intermediate, like, you run into the elves and it having the exact same response, like, I don't know, it didn't 100% do it for me. So this may be unduly punished with the 3 stars because I'm not that familiar with the realms, but I also don't think I'm being unfair by docking a few points for a couple of the events which didn't quite work for me. So we had 607 gold by the end. We pay 150 the Alchemist Guild, so net earnings were 457. You do keep any equipment items, so this is where the stores become interesting. It's not just for you to use in the realm, but it's for you to take back home with you. This is one of the ways that you get to pick what you take back. We defeated the Wizard King, so that's 500 for the score. We defeated 9 lords. I think there's like, what was there, like 20 or some ridiculous number off of that. There's also an invader bonus, which I didn't turn on because I'm streaming. By the way, I really like this version of the theme music. And 164 days passed, so basically you are docked a point for each day that passed. So I'm not 100% sure how the realm score translates into anything other than bragging rights, but we return to Limbo. Yeah, so this is one of the reasons why I say that, like, Chaos Reborn is a lot better than I feel the level of attention it gets is worth. The realms are where it's at. Like, the single player campaign's fine, you will enjoy it, it's worth playing, but like the fact that these are player generated realms and that you get to keep the items and customize yours, like my wizard didn't look like this at the start. The realm mode is awesome. I can't really think of other games that have quite done this. So anyways, we reached level 25, we got 100 gold, and I'm actually not sure what they do. New social rank, you're now a wizard lord. As a wizard lord or lady, you can submit your wizard for lord duty in the realm screen. Wizard kings may choose your wizard to be deployed in a realm that they create. You will earn experience points for battles your wizard fights in while controlled by a computer AI in a realm that you are deployed. Your wizard can also be randomly chosen as a computer-controlled opponent in duels. Okay, that sounds really cool. Ooh, server error. Cool. Does this get submitted as Melee Mage? So this is kind of neat. So I do hope this character gets deployed. I mean, again, it depends on how many people are playing. Actually, you know what? We might be able to get some details of that from Steam. So this is the first I've unlocked this. So like the realm creation and all of that, I haven't actually unlocked. I love this game, but like I do also have other things to do. So I'm actually kind of excited that I get a chance to show all of you some of this stuff. So, Steam directly is only going to show me like their top charts. Just a second. Sorry, I'm like really curious. I also kind of know that there's no possible way that I'm gonna have enough time to do another realm on the broadcast. So let me. So okay, here's a question I have for you, because I was gonna ask this a little bit later, but for those of you who are watching, what do you think of the game based off of what you've seen? Like obviously, I was applying sort of my. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was low. I'm pretty sure it's Steam only. It's also an old game, right? So like I'm sure people have moved on. Yeah, well, I mean, you say like I'm actually more interested in just the overall trend, which interestingly enough seems like um, 9 would actually be a bit of an uptick. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a slow trend down, but it actually looks like in the last 30 days it's had a big new peak. Um, and yeah, I mean, within 24 hours there are apparently 18 concurrent players, I think is the idea here. Yeah, so I mean, if there's 18 people on at the same time, you're going to have at least a slightly more interesting experience than if there's like nobody. So I'm actually reasonably happy to see that. So what does that look like if I go over the last month? Yeah, so it usually looks like there's somebody on. Interesting. I wonder what's inspired these boosts, because it doesn't seem like every December there's suddenly like a new influx of people. It seems like there's something that's provoked this now. I also know that they played, I know they paid like well in advance for the server space. So I'm sure at some point the game, like this whole like realm, this like realm element will be gone. But I know it's going to be around. I wonder if I can find that blog post again. This is a Kickstarter game, incidentally. Yeah, honestly, it's probably not worth looking too deeply into it. In any case, like if you do wind up picking, so again, one of the reasons why I wanted to share this is just because it is again available on Steam and Canadian for less than $4. On its own, it's actually not that expensive of a game. It's $10.99, and it does have Windows, Mac, and Steam support, which I'm assuming translates to Linux support. It was released in 2015, so I would guess if they did 10 years, it could have been that they paid 20 years in advance, but if they did 10 years, you know you're going to get at least 2 more years of the server. Yeah, so $3 US, I guess, $3.29 in Canadian dollars. But yeah, 70% off is a decent one. Again, I can't speak to the law mode because I'm actually not that interested in it. But I do think that the chaos mode is the most fun, honestly. But I will say that they introduced law mode specifically because people were unhappy with chaos mode. Which again, I sort of think, well, you know, what do you do if you're, what do you do if you've split the community that way? But yeah, I don't know. Actually, attention to all new Chaos Reborn players. Chaos Reborn has 2 mechanical modes of play. The original Chaos mode, where all kills are a single hit. Hits and casting chances were based on probabilities and RNG rolls. There's now a newer Law mode for those who dislike RNG. In Law mode, wizards and creatures have hit points, and mana is used as a resource to cast. You can switch between Law and Chaos in all gameplay modes. In the tutorial, the option to switch between Law and Chaos is found at the bottom of the screen, below the tutorial missions. In single-player mode, the option is found by clicking on the gear in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, going into your preferences and enabling Law mode realm battles if you wish to play in Law mode, or leave it unticked for Chaos. Okay, so yeah, this is just letting people know about Law mode. Sorry, I just pushed the wrong button. I'm trying to see if the Discord is the snapshot Discord or the Chaos Reborn Discord. Was I already a member of this? I was. Okay, yes. There's a dedicated Chaos Reborn Discord, as is a dedicated, Phoenix Point. Just taking a look here. Yeah, there's a bunch of people messaging in. Messaging in December. So yeah, I guess I'd say if the multiplayer component's a really important part for you, the Discord's probably a really good place to go. I'm glad you're picking it up, Algrins. Again, this is one of these rare cases where I'm probably selling this thing harder than when I'm given a key for promotional purposes, because I really do like this game a lot. I feel quite strongly about the game, to be honest. I'm actually probably going to sit down. I think I'm going to try and grind out to the Wizard King. And again, like I think there's a lot that's going for this game, and I understand people were mad about the chaos mode. And again, if it's not for you, if you want a more like traditional, like strategy experience, you can do law mode. But I think the whole idea of the probabilities, particularly with regards to the bluffing mechanic, like that's what really makes it interesting. So anyways, let me just get a quick readout on some of the details of these levels. So as a wizard, lord, or lady, you can submit your wizard for lord duty in the realm screen. Wizard kings may choose your wizard to be deployed in a realm that they create. You will earn experience points for the battles your wizard fights in while controlled by a computer AI in a realm that you are deployed. Your wizard can also be randomly chosen as a computer-controlled opponent in duels. Wizard King level 50. As a Wizard King, you can create realms for other players to adventure in. You can deploy wizard lords in your created realms. You will earn realm karma for each player that completes one of your realms. You can spend realm karma to gain the next social rank without reaching the required wizard level. You can gain realm karma by winning battles as a realm invader or a realm ally, or by creating realms as a Wizard King. Okay, this is neat. Yeah, so I really dropped the ball by not pushing for level 50 as quickly as I could. I wish it would explain the forge. So there is a little bit more for me to do, though. Okay, tutorials in the single player mode. So you can also make custom game. Oh, so here we go. This was the asynchronous mode. So this is actually a feature I really liked, because I tend to have friends who tend to like this game, but we find it really hard to figure out a time to play. So async was a bit of a godsend for that. Just going to take a quick look at the wiki and see what the Forge Crystal story is here. So I'm just going to the wiki on this. Doesn't help me. Realms of Chaos. Players can explore the Realms of Chaos, a predominantly single-player experience, but also features co-op play. which sees a player exploring a realm with the overall goal of killing the Wizard King in that particular realm. Well, that's not true, because the invasion mechanic. There's also, I believe there's some short stories related to this. I'm just trying to find those. Oh, it's a novel. Oh yeah, nope, here it is. So for those of you that like lore, there is the fiction. I'm wondering if I should maybe just read this for the next half hour, because again, if I try to start a realm now, we're definitely not going to be able to finish it. Lore Master Guide, what's that? Oh, fun. Okay. Maybe we can read some of the lore behind this for the last little bit. I just want to see... I want to do a little bit of character customization before I finish. I'm just curious about this Alan Stroud website, though, because it seemed to indicate that there was some... Like, there was some... there's some, like... it seemed to suggest that there was some material on that, but... Okay, so apparently there's an audio drama for this. Official novel, Death of the Gods. Part 3 of the novel has now been edited, is with Julian in draft form. Part 4 is complete. Part 5 is nearly complete. Part 6 is planned, with the word count well in excess of the original target of 80,000. And an opportunity arising to write a further 3 parts. It is looking likely what was originally envisaged as 1 book will become 3. However, that decision is yet to be made, as I'm waiting on feedback from an excerpt submission to a publisher. There's been a bit of lull and frustration for me in this, but probably for the best, in that this time of year is really busy with a bunch of brand new BA Honors Creative Writing for publication being run at Bucks. I have less free time at this point of the year. To reassure you, I'm still massively keen on the story, and I'm really enjoying the writing when I get time. The sheer depth and scale of the story to be told is huge. Okay, so... I'm trying to figure out what the deal is with the novel, to be honest. Chaos Reborn short stories. Included in the game is my 10-part short story Journal of the Gifted One, which you can read here on the Chaos Reborn website. I'm now working on a second multi-part story called Journal of the Singing City, and I've already completed several additional shorts, which will be included in a forthcoming anthology. These will be an open submission call for players to write their own shorts to be included in the anthology as well. We'll publicize that on the Chaos Reborn website and forums soon. Chaos Reborn single-player campaign. I don't know what the story is about. It's worth remembering this was before this is during the Kickstarter, so some of these may not have materialized. This is talking about plans. Website lore, as of this weekend, more than 2,500 words worth of background information is now drafted and with snapshot games for a final tweak before going up on the Chaos Reborn website to help realm designers with ideas and themes. I'm also answering any questions people have on the forums and trying to keep in touch with the Chaos Reborn Reddit as well. Writing these kinds of primer documents is a difficult balance. I'm not a believer in overly restrictive explanations of everything and want to encourage others to imagine and create within the Chaos Reborn universe. But to promote consistency of development and be a point of contact if questions arise, which they're bound to. This way we have a living, breathing fiction which can expand and grow as more content is created. The mythology is very important here in establishing this so we can highlight the depth of the storytelling attached to the ideas behind the game. So, on that last note, let me just take a look at the Reddit for Chaos Reborn and see if there's any links to these fictional works. So it doesn't really seem to have... Doesn't seem like there's any kind of links inside the... It looks like there's a... It's kind of limited in terms of the links. I wonder if there's a Snapshot Games Reddit. Zara Phoenix point. Okay. Not that much to go on with that, but that's fine because we still have some works of fiction. So let me just take a quick look here and see if the... Wait, where did that Lore Master guide go? Sorry. I'm losing my windows. Okay, I'm sorry, I've actually just lost the... There's like a Lore Master guide somewhere and now it's gone. Okay, so just the last thing that I'm doing here is figuring out... it looks like the... it looks like the fiction on the website is different from... Okay, so there is a brief history in the lore section, and then there is the, which seems to be the same as in the Lore Master's Guide, but the fiction is different. So here's what I'm going to do. As long as the music isn't overwhelming me, I'm going to open up the main display. Let's start by... So as far as gameplay is done, I'm going to leave that for now because I only have about 15 minutes left. I mean, I'll try and do a little bit of extra because I spent so much time searching around. But what I'll do here is I will read some of the basic lore. Maybe we'll start doing a bit of the fiction, and then I'll do sort of a final summary on the game, and then we can call it a night. So... Chaos Reborn, the Lore Master's Guide by Alan Stroud and Julian Gollop. That is the same Julian Gollop who made XCOM. Chaos Reborn is a return to one of his earlier games, Chaos: A Battle of Wizards. The Lore Master's Guide. Surely I can fit this a little bit. Oops. That works, actually. Introduction. Once there was the moon, the sun, the stars, all gone. Magic caused this. Magic and wizards. Our world cracked as we warred deep within its heart and awoke monsters. The sun burned out, the moon shattered, yet still we fought. Blinded by greed, we sought the power of gods and broke that which was made for us. Now at the heart of the vortex, only limbo remains, a last refuge for those who are not saved but did not sin. You are trained and unleashed to wield magic, to build realms, to command creatures, to battle with wizards and plunder the realm, to save the last of us, to rule, to become gods. Once did order rule, now chaos reborn. In these dark and fractious times, it can be difficult to find reliable sources of information about our past, our present, and our future. The Brethren of Stormsheim have taken great pains to prepare this document, a collection of fragmentary writing and research that holds all we can precisely verify about such an aspect of the reborn existence we find ourselves in. As with all things of Limbo, we offer this in trade to your exalted wizard. Our meager existence in this place requires that we do so, for whilst we would wish all knowledge to be free, there's little else we can barter with you in exchange for our survival. There are many voices here, some contradictory, with allegiances and loyalties that conflict and crackle upon the page. You must take what knowledge you can from these voices and accept that the writers might be your friend or foe. We do not presume to offer judgment upon these views, but include the insight for your learning. In time, perhaps these ideologies will reconcile, and we will have peace. But that will never be achieved without understanding. We hope you may gain understanding from what we give you. Lore Master's Guide. All things exist in balance. Stone is law and substance. Song is life and change. But there is a third knowledge, a mystery known to creators, learned only through pain. History. Our Earth existed alone in the void. The stars are the dust discarded throughout time, fading away into the deep. In the first days, the world teemed with life, all manner of creatures living across land and sea. Then came the gifted, powerful wielders of magic from all across the world, first as teachers and counselors, then as warlords and chieftains. They called themselves Egregori, Tegu, Teotl, and many other things. The First Chaos War. Amongst humanity, the gifted found their muse. Men and women worshipped them and gave them new power. They used this to explore their talent, devising spells, rituals, and wards to serve themselves and those loyal to them. They learned to summon and dominate all manner of strange beasts and monsters, fighting wars that threatened the existence of all things. Within this chaos, the strongest tyrants rose to the surface and warred with one another. The world teetered on the edge of destruction. A council came together, representing powerful factions across the different lands, defeating those who opposed them. To save the world, they sealed its cracks with power, using magic granted to them by their worshippers. But some creatures could not forgive the gifted for their crimes, and others proved too powerful to be left to roam the world. The last of these beings were locked away beneath the earth, some to sleep and others to live out their days, never seeing sunlight again. The peace and time of order. In the first days after, there were fewer wars, plagues, floods, and natural disasters. The gifted ruled with wisdom and justice, the greatest of them ascending to become gods. They interbred with humanity and forgot much of their past. Alchemists, humans with a sensitivity to magic, rose to prominence, refining the means of making portals and enchanted items to empower the wizards loyal to their orders. The wars of the oldest days were forgotten, and the chaos of the first times remembered only in legends and stories. The rise of the gods. Over time, the gifted learned ways to transcend their mortal state and become immortal beings of pure magic. Gathering enough power to initiate this process was difficult, but the alchemists discovered an innate affinity to magic amongst humans. Powerful emotions granted slivers of magic to the egregori, and they were directed at, so feared and loved wizards became more powerful. The rise of religious orders across the world were the product of this discovery, as the council sought to control the means of transcendence and promote the most trusted and wise among them to this new enlightened state. These new beings were seen as gods by some, or as messengers of gods by others. However, as the centuries passed, not all were content with these hierarchies. Young wizards, doomed to follow the rigid rules of their elders, rebelled and began to seek their own paths to enlightenment. Some succeeded, some did not. The Schism. In the last century of the old times, a misguided ritual in Avignon broke the first of the seals on the world. Wizards rallied and strove to contain what they had done, burying the rift behind powerful wards of magic. But it was too late. A second seal broke open in the buried city of Isola, and a third on an island in the Southern Ocean. Magic could no longer be contained by the wizards. Unwanted distortions created deformations in nature. Vicious beasts roamed the plains, and unusual growths and swamps developed. The dead came back to haunt the living. The Horsemen. Strife broke out everywhere. A second Chaos War, led by rebel wizards intent on destabilizing the religious orders that had come to dominate the lands and seeking to free the creatures imprisoned in the vast caverns beneath the world. War, plague, famine, and death, the four horsemen ravaged the lands, empowering armies intent on the end of all things. It is said these four were talented apprentices from different orders of the world who came together when pitted against one another in the secret schemes of gods. Each rejected their masters, opting instead to ally with the nightmares of the world. Others tell this tale differently, and see the individuals as iconic liberators of the earth from its oppressive masters. A world destroyed. The ancient council, riven with paranoia, was slow to act in response. A great purge followed, trials, inquisitions, and executions. Law became unyielding judgment, and chaos, an unknown freedom of contagious revolution. As nations fell and people lost hope, the magic binding the world faltered. The lands began to suffer from violent earthquakes. Suddenly it shattered, splitting into many fragments. In an instant, millions of people dead, only those protected by magic survived, cast into the void on the remnants and reliant on whatever spells had saved them. Gradually, using the lore of portal making, the gifted were able to reunite. They found the remains of the old world, transformed into a swirling vortex. Deep within its core lay a ruined fragment, a realm intact but undisturbed by the destructive storms that raged around it. Spells were ineffective. The magic simply sucked into the storms. The wizards named this place Limbo, and from it they ventured into the fragmented realms through the portals they had built. There was no more war, but there was no peace either. Chaos reigned above all else. Unimaginable places were filled with strange magical creatures released from their dungeons. Wizards fought with each other in their quest for power. They knew without power they could not survive. Slowly, the old societies reasserted themselves. The ancient orders of alchemists who had remained loyal to the wizards during the worst of times reformed and rebuilt parts of the ruined cities. Survivors were found in many of the fragment worlds and brought back to new settlements. However, they were not the only things discovered. In the myriad realms spiraling out beyond the vortex, all manner of creatures were found. Vampires, elves, dwarves, and dragons, to name but a few. All forms out of fairy tale and myth. The origins of these are uncertain. Some could be the corrupted forms of mortals from the past, some imprisoned beneath the world, and some created from pure magic. Over time, wizards banded together. Temporal alliances became cabals. Cabals became orders, each seeking power to shape Limbo and tame the fragmented worlds according to their own image. Each seeking the power to follow the first of their kind and become gods. Those who judge. The following testimony is an extract from the journal of a papal enforcer tasked to track down undesirable strangers in the far reaches of the Holy Empire. We are filled with stories of good and evil. Through example, we are taught right from wrong, punished for our sins, and urged to live a righteous life that we might at its end pass through the gates to paradise. But the world is rarely so clear. We make choices and decide alone what makes an honest woman or an honest man. We are tested to prove our worth. We judge ourselves and always find fault. In time, some of us are cursed to judge others. I walked into the common room of the tavern, instinctively relaxing my guard a little, welcoming the warmth and shelter from the driving snow outside. Heads turned towards me, appraising the stranger, taking in my worn fur cloak and sword strapped to my right thigh. I returned each stare in turn, wrinkled and thin faces for the most part, my equal in years, but in no other way. Farmers gathered in together against the harsh winter, living off their summer gains. Here and there a younger face among them, but no women, making me the exception. The first approach came as I settled into an empty seat. "Don't seem right, you being out here alone," said a man, speaking rough Rutharian. I eyed the stranger as I undid my cloak, letting him get a good look at the ringmail underneath. I had a jowly face, skin weathered by the years outdoors, and a back bent from the work. The last wisps of gray hair around his ears. Sorry, did I get that wrong? He had a jowly face, skin weathered by years outdoors and his back bent from the work. The last wisps of gray hair around his ears, a hint of the man he might have been. I started undoing the strap scabbard, placing it on the table. How so, friend? I asked in the same language. Well, you being... He stumbled over the obvious, plainly starting to realize his mistake. I held his gaze and favored him with a thin smile. I like being alone. Right. After that, they let me be for the most part. The tavern keep asked my business. I gave him enough coin for bread, cheese, hot soup, and a room. I kept my eyes on the food, eating to banish chill and hunger. I was half done when the door creaked and I got another reminder of cold. A man in a woolen robe stepped past me and settled onto the chair opposite. You're not one of us, he said. No, I replied, and I attacked the cheese with my rune-etched knife. What brings you this far north? I looked at him, noting his tonsured temple, and smiled. The same that brings you here, father. Recognition lit his face, but he quickly frowned to conceal it. When I wrote His Holiness, I asked for the papal militia. I nodded. You did, but they sent me. Why? You don't look like... I held up a hand to interrupt him before something he would regret. I'm assuming he said something he would regret. Slowly, I rolled up my sleeve, revealing the Caduceus brand on my wrist, the staff with the two intertwined snakes. They sent me because my blood is more potent than yours. After that, he stayed silent and let me finish my food. The room smelled of mold. Father Yentov sat on the bed facing away while I stripped off my armor and donned a simple shift. I could feel his discomfort and his disapproval at being so close to a woman undressing, but that was the least of my worries. Tell me more about this god. He cleared his throat and tried to settle himself. It calls itself Mansa, and came to us on the Sabbath from the east as the wind turned west. There's much superstition still in remote villages, like this especially in winter when the roads become arduous, so the folk here listened and believed the lies. How did it come here, I asked. In the shape of a man of the heathen lands, dark of skin and leaning upon a great staff. The earth shook as it walked. I've never seen the like. I smiled at the submission in his voice. The damp wooden floorboards felt good under the soles of my bare feet. What were Mansa's demands? He claimed to have stolen the sun and would only return it if the villagers prayed to him. I pulled out some loose-fitting leggings, slipped them on, and turned to face Yentov. And you didn't challenge him? The priest flinched from my gaze. I'm but flesh and bone. How could I stand against such power? You're afraid, then? Yentov's eyes remained on the fraying blanket. All folk live in healthy fear of the Almighty, he said slowly. My duty is to the flock. I prayed for aid, and you came. He looked up at me. It is not within me to defeat demons. I shrugged. Farmers huddled here in the snow. You think words of this Mansa will take root? I wouldn't have sent a message if I didn't. I leaned in close to him, holding his eye, conscious of the thin cloth between us. Are you always a good shepherd? I asked softly. Keep all your vows? I try. His hesitation gave him away. My old body did not stir him much, but it did stir him. A life in isolation brought with it the temptation to mingle what gift he had with the ignorant blood of his charges. After all, who would know? The little miracles a priest might conjure would impress small minds. Rejection could be claimed as sin. Oaths of abstinence had less force once broken, and flesh clearly tempted this man. No doubt the sons and daughters of the mud looked to Yentov. Such a learned man, odious and plainly corrupt, but without him. I am here only for the task, I said. Once it is done, I am God. If I go find this god, there'll be blood, and you might be the only one who will come after me. I understand. If you leave me there and I live, things will go badly for you. Yentov swallowed, looking more ashamed with every moment. Very well, he said. Where can I find him? The hillside woods to the north. An abandoned lodge just before the cliffs. No folk dare venture there, that they see tracks. Yentov left after that, wanting nothing more to do with me. I knew where he was going. I've met his type before. He would seek solace in his church and his sins and try to forget I existed, hoping he would never see me again, but knowing if I did not return, he would be alone against the strange god. The shadows lengthened, the feeble winter sun unable to resist the gathering dark. A solitary candle illuminated the little room as I sent prayers to the heavens, renewing my place in the hierarchy through the communion. I could feel the song of our church, a low, heady thrum that echoed across land and sea, thousands upon thousands at prayer, their devotions thrilling the blood in my veins. Such power, a living, breathing thing given form by our faith. A soft knock at the door disturbed my meditation. I glanced around, hearing a whispered voice, speaking urgent, unintelligible words. I rose then and lifted the latch. Outside, I found a woman of 20 summers or so, with a young girl at her side. 2 work-stained faces looking at me. Your pardon, may we come in? I nodded and stepped aside. The woman entered, ushering the child before her. Both wore tattered clothes, evidence of their tattered lives. How can I assist you? I asked. Not for me, my daughter, the woman said. Will you take her? I stared at the little girl. Her eyes stayed on the floor, avoiding mine and her mother's. What are your names? I asked. I am Mata, said the woman. This is Gina. She has the gift. Our ancestors came here from lands far to the south. I've hid what she can do, but there is talk, and it will worsen as she grows. I held her eyed. I did not come here for this, I said. The Lord sent you, Mata urged. The Lord sent you for her. The Lord sent me for other work, not to rescue children. She glanced away then, bunching her fists into her eyes, wiping away tears. You cannot leave her, she said. If you do, she'll be stuck here and never amount to anything. Stuck here with her mother. Nada sunk to her knees, taking Gina's face in her hands, lifting her gaze from the floor. I accept this, Nada said. My life is what it is. You must grant her something better. I gazed at them both in turn, remembering a small tearful farewell nearly 50 years before. Hold out your hand, girl, I said. Silently, Gina did as I asked. I picked up the candle from where I'd left it on the table. This may hurt, I told her. It had hurt me when I'd been tested. Gina didn't reply, but she did not withdraw her hand. I brought the flame to her fingers and listened to her scream. The next morning, the wind had blown right through, leaving a still cold quiet. I woke early and knelt to say my devotions, and then took up my armor and sword. The etched writing along the blade promised much, but would it be enough? Hours before sunup, I was walking through deep snow to the woodland, following the path Yentov had stretched for me on a tattered parchment scrap. The quiet half-light made the world seem expectant, as if it were holding its breath, an audience to my fate, perhaps. I'd drawn my weapon and held it loosely in my hand, a clear sign to any farmer folk who might be out at this hour. It would be good to be seen, to invoke their whispers, but the message needed to be right, so it would spread and be embellished as they murmured together in their smoldering tavern. A demon came to us, the priest prayed, and the Lord sent forth an angel with a bright sword. They would not mention a gray-haired woman of advancing years stumbling into the cold. This was my task. Yentov's message had gone out to the wider church. The patriarch had consulted with his advisors, and word had been passed to the Caduceus monks. They in turn contacted me, Grajnia of Gdansk, a fisherman's daughter who no one would remember, but whose blood remains potent enough to wield the faith against a stranger from the south. Walking in the snow was hard, each step making a large hole as I picked my way through the fall. As I left the village behind, the going got harder, the deep drifts like white marsh to wade through, but the incline of the hill helped, and the thick fall gradually receded, leaving me tired, wet, and cold as I stumbled on. Halfway to the wood, I found a huge dead tree. I stood alone, its branches hacked away. Writing had been scratched into the black bark, whorls of different script that ran around, spiraling upwards, all over its severed limbs. The cuts were fresh. Some of the words and symbols were familiar to me. Others were not, but each phrase I understood spoke of power and sacrifice, like any god might. The tree was a statement of intent. I knew what the villagers would make of it. Here stood a symbol marking the border between their lands and their new lord. They would bring offerings and leave them, sharing their stories of what came in response only when they were safe and warm by their fires. If I achieved my task and bested the stranger, the tree would have to be cut and burned, else they would never believe him gone. If Mansa was truly a god, then I was overmatched. Those of the blood who transcended the mortal form could appear as they wished as any creature, or even watch events as an apparition. Above them lay the world's masters, and further back its creator, who existed in perpetual paradise beyond our reach. The church embraced them all as saints, prophets, saviors, and angels, celebrating and honoring their whims and wishes in scripture and verse. In some lands, the path to such power were different, but here they were fixed and enforced by Caduceus like me, who stood against the heathen alternatives. As I examined the trunk, a figure emerged from the woods beyond, walking towards me. He carried a long staff, 7 feet or more, but moved slowly without its aid. I guessed this was Mansa. How could it not be? He was bare of foot and bald of head, his smooth dark skin out of place in the white cold. He wore a loose fabric shift, uncollared in the style favored by others like him I had seen. His ochre robes were covered in Nisbidi script, like the bark, but written so tight that they might just be a pattern to the untrained eye. I knew better. It would be the story of his life. He stopped 10 feet away. The face that regarded mine was old, wrinkled, and solemn, not the incarnation of evil you might hear of in song. You are a stranger to this place, he said in halting Greek. As are you, Mansa, I replied in the same tongue. He smiled at that, displaying uneven white teeth. The people here do not seem strange to me. They fear the night and monsters as others do. They are not your people, I told him. You should not be here. His smile did not waver. Why? This land is colder than where I have lived, but beneath the snow and ice is mud and rock like the lands I have known. Before I came, these people prayed to a faraway god they could not see or touch. Now they turn to me and see their reward. Which is better for them? It is not for you to judge, I said. He grunted. I speak as I find. Ways that work are best. Long ago, I have taught the folk the star names to guide their way at night, to use mold for infection, to chew bark to numb pain and fever. These people fear the dark sky and burn both rot and wood. They will gain much by praying to me. I shrugged and stepped forwards, letting him know that his words made no difference. These are not your people, I repeated. This is not your place. Their faith belongs to us. Mansa nodded. Ah, yes. I forget your shackles and your tower to heaven. At least, the least are told they are worthless, so they might give their only gift in ignorance. Your thin priests guide them, so the fat priests may feast as they wish on your way to paradise, he snorted. But in your tower, you are not free. The higher you climb, the further you fall. I raised my sword so he could see the rune-etched blade, symbols of faith and power to rival the story map of his life. Go back through the portal you found, I said. I will not ask again. You will follow me? Of course, we want no more visitors. He cocked his head to one side. To go back for me is death. You will get no better fate here. A flicker of his brown eyes gave away the ambush. I turned and ducked as something swished past my ear. An arrow hit the snow, kicking up the spray of white. I murmured strange and familiar words, feeling my damp clothes and ringmail tighten with magic and close the distance to Mansa. But he was already deep in his own chant, his staff planted. I heard the growl of something summoned, and a cat twice the size of the largest dog I'd ever seen appeared in front of me, halting my advance. I studied the animal as it studied me. Its thick, shaggy mane and regal bearing came straight from heraldry. I'd never seen a lion in real life, finding them evasive when I'd visited the southern lands. This one crouched and bared its teeth, ready to spring at me if I moved further. Such a waste. Oop. So there's an invasion. It's tempting, right? But I am actually going to do the equipment stuff after the Lore Master's Guide. So sorry. I normally I like taking the opportunity to do the invasions, right? They are fun. I took a step towards it and it sprang. I dodged to the right, bringing my sword up and down, scoring a deep cut across its neck and flank. I lost my footing and fell backwards. Blood stained the stone, and the lion writhed in pain, its eyes large as they glared at me. I felt shame at wounding it, but then, if I had not... Stirring guttural words reminded me of the present danger. The ground stirred, and I rolled quickly as dark, spiky branches ripped their way out of the earth, reaching for me. This was not the old wood of the carved tree. These were magic forms, screaming the agony of growth beyond nature, compelled by their master. By the way, every spell that's been cast right now is a spell that you can actually cast in Chaos Reborn. Mansa. Spike thorns caught my ankle, dragging me back into its deadly embrace. I hefted the sword again, but it fell from my numb fingers as I could bring it before I could bring it to bear on the bark. Limbs grew and wrapped themselves around me, pinning my arms to my sides and pulling me upright to stand before my foe. Mansa smiled at me again, but this time the expression was strained. A dark-skinned hand stroked my cheek. So a man comes to your lands bearing gifts, and you turn him away, knowing his aid will bring strength and wealth to the people. I struggled with the living bonds, but they only tightened. I forced myself to relax, to think a way out. Do not claim some higher purpose. You are here for your own ends. I nodded towards the animal dying in the cold. You care nothing for your slaves, leaving them to die so far from home. You made this happen, not I. You held the weapon. Only in defense of my life. Mance's smile faded. Your priest treats these people like cattle. He uses the girls as he wishes, speaking songs of guilt, faith, and shame so that he might enjoy their virgin flesh. That is not your crime to punish, I replied. So you permit it then? What I do about his sin is no concern of yours. I moved my right arm behind my back to my waist, straining against the hardening tree limbs that coiled around my wrist. Brambles dug into soft flesh, but my fingers grasped the hilt of the knife at my belt and eased it from its teeth. Mansa stared at me silently for long moments, and then he spoke. It would be a waste to murder you here, but there would be benefit. Village folk would see it as a sign to turn from your churches and cross. Others will come. I welcome them. Mansa pointed at the wounded lion, his eyes not leaving mine. He moved towards me until our faces were an inch apart. The strong survive, the weak do not. I went for him then. My knife, slick with blood, slipping through the grip of branch and vine. The rune-etched blade caught him under the ribs, its magic defeating the wards of his clothes, thrusting into his flesh, scratching his heart. He coughed once, sank to his knees, and died. The tree that held me relaxed, turning to ash as its master faded from the world, but the lion remained, huddled around itself on the stained snow. I walked towards it, conscious of the unseen archer, but no further arrows came to trouble me. I knelt and lay a hand on the animal's broad flank, calling up healing words I had been taught by the monks many years ago. They'd saved me in the past when I'd been cold and alone, but they were not enough for this creature. I cradled its head and gazed into its eyes as it passed into another world. Afterwards, I took out flint and steel and set fire to the symbol-carved tree. The damp wood needed help to burn, but eventually burn it did. Then I dragged the corpses of the wizard and his beast to the pyre and watched the flames consume them. The stench of human flesh roasted and charred was a fitting penance to bear. My clothes dried, and I brought magic to my wounds, staunching and closing the torn skin of my arms and legs. What story would they tell of this night? I have seen tapestry and hear songs where crusaders defeat the enemies of God. The tales are told by those who survived the horrors of war and passed on from father to heir. Gradually the blood and gore fades as the foes increase in number and power. The ill of the enemy's intention grows, so our deliverance by heroes of heaven and earth might echo loud through the ages. Who needs truth when such potent stories remain? This would be a struggle of good against evil, where sinners and heathens are punished by the righteous sword of faith. No thought spared for a hero left with memories of pain. By nightfall the fire faded, leaving a black scar on the white blanket. It began to snow again, large white flakes weeping from the heavens to conceal Mansa's violent end. I got up, retrieved my sword, and made my way back to the village. I went first to the small church, a towering shadow against the darkening sky. Inside I found Yentov lighting candles. He turned as I approached, his mouth set in a grimace when he bowed his head in shame. "Do I need to find the bow and quiver?" I asked him. "No," he replied softly. I grabbed him by the hair and dragged him across the nave, into the preparation chambers and down through a wooden door into the vaults. I bid him light a candle with shaking fingers and pushed him to the floor. He went to kneel before me, but I shook my head. "No, you don't deserve a penitent's death. On your hands and knees." He did as he was told and wept onto the stones. I drew my sword once more, raised it, and brought it down upon his neck, the blade cutting flesh and bone. He screamed and gurgled in agony, but after 3 blows it was over. I blew out the candle and went back up the stairs and locked the door. Silent stares greeted me at the tavern. I ignored them, went to my room, retrieved my things, and headed back out into the cold. At the door I found Mata, the woman from before, her daughter Gina beside her with a bandaged hand. "Please," the woman begged, "you promised." I stared at her and then Gina. I knelt down to the child and leaned in close. "The strong survive, the weak do not," I said, then stood up and turned away, walking alone southwards into the night. So there's obviously a lot more to go into on the Lore Master's Guide, but I at least wanted to get a little bit of that out of the way because I'm actually not that familiar with the lore of the world. That's the first I've seen that document. But I'm going to wrap up with a little bit of customization. I just need to remember how to do it. Yeah, so that doesn't help. Oh yeah, it's equip, sorry. So I can always sell duplicate items. Then you can go to the shop. So basically, these are all the different... this is all the different stuff that you can get. So there's an equipment pack of 2 staffs and 1 body gear. Or you can get the mega pack for 600, 2 staffs, 1 body gear, and 4 talismans. I kind of feel like this is the best deal. So let's buy 1. Let's open it up. Kodolorgral. Yes, loving these names. So it's comparing it to my my existing stats. So less attack, less defense, lower magic power, but gives me a larger deck size. This is a growths staff. So the reason why I wanted to make sure that I ended with the equipment side is I never really kind of talked about the deck building part because I was just using my existing loadout. But basically the staff that you equip will have a number of effects. So under the growth staff, so these spells are more likely to be in your deck and their casting chance boost is doubled. So Gooey Blob, Tangled Vine, Shadow Wood, Magic Wood, Crystal Wall. Either the Tangle Vine or the Shadow Wood were brought up in the story. I love Gooey Blob, by the way. So it's not just that they're more frequent. It's also the probability that goes up. Sorry, not the probability. You know what I mean by the boost. So a few other things this will give you. It can improve your hand size. There is a limit in terms of the boost that you can apply, and that is affected by the staff that you use. There's the Mega Spell, so in this case, Gooey Mass. The ultimate disabling spell, cast directly on enemy creatures for the best effect. It will spread uncontrollably. And then there's limits in terms of what talismans you can equip. So we can contrast this to this Chaos Staff. So in this case, these spells are more likely to be in your deck, and their casting chance boost is doubled. So Zombie, Vampire, Skeleton, Goblin, Gooey Blob, Shadow Wood, Magic Attack, Vengeance and Damnation, Chaos Shift, Manticore, Hydra, Hellhound, Raised Dead, Bloodless Totem, and Meteor Shower. So the fact that this includes a Gooey Blob is actually something that would be quite tempting for me. Lower hand size, same casting boost, and higher cost for the Mega Spell. The Mega Spell is Mega Bolt, so attack 3 targets within 4 hex range, requires a clear line of sight. Now, Mega Bolt is kind of cool, but I think the big reason why I would usually use Mega Bolt, why I would use the Magic Bolt, is to attack, the enemy spellcaster. So in one sense, it's like, do you really want to save up 78 mana so that you can do 3 bolts, 2 of which may be irrelevant by killing the enemy wizard? Probably not, right? So there's Bind Sapphire Dragon. So this is a really useful one. So the spell Sapphire Dragon is guaranteed to be included in your deck at the start of battle. Retrogarum. So when activated, your wizard gains the Retaliate ability and will attack any adjacent enemy that attacks. So I actually already have, I believe I have this equipped if I'm not mistaken. You can bind a Dwarf. The spell Dwarf is guaranteed to be included in your deck at the start of battle. I don't want to, I tend to slam the dwarfs a bit. The reason why I don't like the dwarf as a mercenary is because they get to move 1 tile. So you can't really bring them across the board that well. But dwarves are quite good at destroying magic equipment. And that can be really, really useful. So don't think that dwarves are irrelevant to the game, but they're kind of they're situational. Finally, mid-trial, so neutral creatures are affected by this buff, attack, agility, and magic power. So if you are going to be summoning a lot of neutral creatures, which you notice I wasn't, this makes them more powerful. So again, this is one of the things that you can use for the gold. You saw that you can also buy some other items. So let's take a look at how I've built things. So I can actually sell some of the duplicate items. So let's start with that. So right now I'm using this Battle Mage outfit. So this is, I believe, by a player called the Unsworn. So this has an attack of 50, defense of 40, agility 70, magic power of 120, and a deck size of 18. It equips Circle, Shield, and Diamond. So one of the things I might be willing to do in terms of trade-offs would be to maybe give up some defense, right? So in this case here, the assumption would be that I'm always on a mount, that if an enemy wants to attack me, I sort of accept that that the defense is going to be low, and so I'm likely going to die to any attacks that come after me. Alternatively, I can say, well, actually, I want to play very safe. I don't want to have a high attack. That instead what I want to do is have a very high defense and then just don't engage in that much hand-to-hand combat. There's a few different ways of doing that. So for instance, let's say I wanted to focus on defense. I have one other item that will improve that. In this case, Greligier. So I believe Arcane Supplies Limited is from Snapshot Games. This also gives me a larger deck size. So you'll notice on this one actually that I took a lot of good stats, but this is one of the smallest deck sizes that I get. So the variety of spells that I have access to is lower. Now let's say I really wanted to sling Magic Bolt. Like Magic Bolts were the most important thing for me, and that my entire strategy was built around casting Magic Bolt. In that case, I would want to rate based on magic power. And so in this case here, I've got a number that would be worth 180. Probably, I'm noticing here actually there's a lot, pretty much the rest of this is all the same. All that's changing though is the talismans. So I actually don't know what the difference between the Savant Ravens and the Balder gear are. I made these? Huh. It's funny that they basically let me make the exact same. How the hell did I make these then? Anyway, this is where I was crazy about Magic Bolt. So I'm wondering if there's a way to maybe knock down some of the agility and pump up. So Leduc's Robe is actually kind of interesting because you're only giving up a little bit of magic power, but you're getting a lot more defense, which makes you more... So I actually think Leduc's is probably a smarter approach. But yeah, these are all arcane outfits, which is good. So anyways, as you can see, I've kind of gone for something a little bit middle of the road. The staves. So right now I've got Creatures Goldie. This is by Dark Flazery. So this is a Creatures staff. So spells more likely: elves, lions, giants, dwarves, spiders, zombies, vampires, skeletons, goblins, sapphire dragon, unicorn, eagle, manticore, elephant, pegasus, hydra, hellhound, rat pack, paladin, Icarus Tower, air elemental. And the probability of summoning a creature is quite a bit higher. Hand size 13, casting boost 13, mega spell cost of 72, so I can get my Flight of Sapphire Dragons, which was obviously doing a lot of work earlier, and circle, cross, and triangle for talismans. So again, if I wanted to sort by mega spell, we've got Cluster of Spiders, Constellation of Pegasi, Destruction of Manticores. What are some of the other ones that they've got? Scourge of Vampires, a Rattle of Skeletons, a Shortage of Dwarves, a Slither of Hydra, Swarm of Rats. But what's probably more interesting is hand size, right? So let's take a look at this one. So Windwalker is a pretty powerful ability. Magic Sword, Magic Shield. This is basically where you're augmenting your spellcaster. So what would be interesting, right, is I bring in the arcane armor, but I equip an armory staff so that I can have a magic sword, magic shield, and just kind of come in guns blazing that way. The problem is it does invite the question as to where I get my mount. So that's the problem with that approach. I mean, Windwalker might help, but that is a risky approach, let's say. So the casting boost is very low on this one, but in terms of variety, it's kind of hard to turn that one down. The smallest hand size would be the Staff of Battle, Respite. I think what I'll do here is I'll sort them, because for some reason I tend to wind up going for the creature staves a bit more often. And I mean, Divine Sword's not bad, but in this case I'd be giving up hand size and boosts. So yeah, actually, what would give me the best boost? So Clear Crystal, or Crystal. It's an air. Oh, so that'd be good for flying, and the hated Icarus Tower. So this could be worse. Unfortunately, it would give me a smaller hand size. Finally, there's the talisman. So I've got 106 talismans right now. So in terms of what I've equipped on the armor, I'm guaranteeing that I have a magic bolt. So Retrogarum gives me Retaliate. Now I might want to switch this one out because, again, I haven't been doing a lot of close combat. And then magic power is boosted by 50%. That's when activated, though. On the staff, I've got the Gooey Blob. So Gooey Blob is like my go-to spell, pretty much. Adalor will boost my creature's attack. I believe that is that's a passive attack boost. And finally, Mana Aculum, which I basically, this is the one. By the way, if you're laughing, is this because you're like going into realm battles and trying to provoke me into a fight? Or is it just something different? Anyways, I got to use this. I got to use this in the final battle or was it the final battle? Anyways, I used this for. Oh, laughing at the items, got it. But yeah, so I was using this. I used this basically. Like, the reason I like this one is that when I really need a creature and when I've been saving it, I can hit this. You get basically 1.5 mana per turn, maximum of 30. So I guess what you do is you'd wait 20 turns, and then you'd hit that for the bonus mana and just like do the best spell that you possibly can that you want to see a return on. Should probably go for the epic stuff at some point, but there's so many items to buy. What else was I gonna do? Right, talismans. So if I recall correctly, one of the reasons why I went for the shield one that I did, so again, looking for Retaliate, it's not a bad insurance policy, but let's think about what the alternatives would be. So Shatter's pretty interesting, but again, that would be assuming that I'm attacking enemy wizards, which I usually don't. Belevent, retreat to avoid injury from successful ranged attacks. Well, that's an interesting one. How exactly does that work? When activated, your wizard can retreat 1 space to avoid injury from a successful ranged attack. The space must not be adjacent to an enemy. If mounted, both the wizard and the mount will retreat. Shields and weapons are not protected from Shatter. No protection is gained from Paralyze, Air Interception, or Magic Bolt. Neat. That's one I might actually consider. Solaris, +1 movement. Pontaco, +10 and +1 range to attacks with wizard's ranged combat equipment. Now I don't actually have ranged combat equipment, so that doesn't really help. Shatteron, wizard is never engaged even when riding, and then Televortis, transport onto a mount, which costs 20 mana to do that. So the thing is that like getting Retaliate's not bad if someone is actually trying to push you, kind of push you off your horse. I can always take a look, or like trying to push a fight with you. I could take a look and see. Why did it let me pick this one? So I could defend everything. Movement 3+. But yeah, I usually just like doing an apply to all. I should probably think a little bit about maybe specializing a little bit more, but this is like just one specific setup that I've got. He said the amount of customization is kind of intimidating. All of the card stuff feels like Magic the Gathering, where you might want a small deck size to ensure you pull specific things. Yeah, I mean, honestly, playing the game will probably give you the better indication of where to go with this, but the thing to remember is that, like, for me, I've got 17 body gear, 40 staves, and 67 talismans. You do not start with that. And in fact, there are ways to play this game without... there are ways to do this without, like... like, there are versions of this where you just don't have any equipment at all and you play with, like, defaults. But I guess a little bit like Magic the Gathering, right? Like, you, instead of, like, sitting down and trying to read every single card, like, you will be a better Magic player if you know all of the cards and know what to expect. But it's not really reasonable to, to do that for yourself. So, like, for me, I know I use Gooey Blob a lot, and I know in the case of Magic Bolt, it is a very powerful way of ending a battle. There are absolutely some ways that I want to improve the way that I built this character. This stream was a little bit more about sort of showing off the game and seeing where everything went. But yeah, like, I definitely feel like the customization, the way that the customization really comes into its own, in my opinion at least, is that between the shop and the stuff that you get in the course of doing the realms, you basically figure out what you're about and what you like the most to do. It's one of the reasons I like playing realms, because of course the realm will give you a scenario where you're like going into merchants and like buying things that might be useful for you and so on. So for that reason, like, that's why I like it. I mean, again, if you take a look at the different setups that I've got, two of them have the same stat. Like, essentially, the difference here is about which of the two like outfits do I wear. And in this case, the melee mages worked a little bit better for me, because you saw I didn't really cast a lot of like magic bolts, so the arcane wasn't that important. But I did have situations where somebody like threw an arrow at me, and again, like, I'll sit down and I'm gonna kind of figure out some more configurations, but I'm kind of already spending more time than I wanted chatting. But I hope, again, just a reminder, this game is less than $4 Canadian. On the Steam sale, $3.29 specifically Canadian, and presumably not that much different for the game. If you are looking for a more traditional strategy setup, you do have law mode. I really do not think law mode is as interesting as chaos, but it is fair to say that they introduced law mode because a very large number of people said, I want to like this game, but it's just too random for me. And I'm like, well, like, do you really play a game called Chaos Reborn for the lack of randomness? But anyways, if chaos mode isn't really working for you, give law mode a try, see if it works for you. I have actually done an invasion where it was law mode, and I found it. I didn't like. I am pure chaos. So do make of that as you will. I, by the way, have 77 hours in this game, mostly just kind of playing with friends in one-on-ones, and I'll probably play a bit more. Like, again, I gave this as a gift to a number of people, but I think for $3 and change, I feel like this is the sort of thing you kind of owe it to yourself to give it a try if you happen to like turn-based strategy. It's by the person who did It's by the person who did XCOM, so that's a decent pedigree, I feel. But I am gonna have to wrap up for tonight. I hope this was worthwhile. I can do more of this on stream. I can do more of this on stream in future if people
Very,
are
very
interested.
difficult for you, so we're not going to do that at all.
Das Tactic, I like you,
sorry,
but I
I'm
don't
just
want
scroll
to.
back up again.
I don't want to show your stuff without permission. But yeah, I'm just gonna try and find someone to host for tonight. Sadly, no Callous Reborn people. This guy really wants to be invaded. No, it's just I'm assuming they're running through I assume they're running through a realm. But yeah, I do honestly. Again, I like this game a lot. So I really do hope. You some of you try this. I know Algrins has given this a shot. But so there's 2 people streaming right now. I have shouted out Wilshand a lot. He is streaming again, but someone who I don't always get a chance to host, Octavian Zero, is streaming. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to give a shout out to Will just because he is a nice person. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to raid Octavian Zero because, well, one, he's playing Escape from Tarkov, which I think is a bit of a crowd pleaser for people. But number 2, he is a broadcaster who's been very supportive of me in the past, somebody who I like hanging out with. And like I said, I don't always get a chance to see him, so I would love it if I can send along the good views. I don't recall if Monday is a holiday. If Monday is not a holiday, I should be back with Terra Invicta, but I need to double check that. And otherwise, again, thank you very much for watching. If I guess New Year will be upon us, so please enjoy your New Year's celebrations in safety and with loved ones. Assuming you have loved ones. I do not, so I'm probably just going to be sitting and reading. But I wish you all the best, and we'll see you in the new year. Take care.